Hey, folks. Hello, hello, hello. What's today? Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. All right. Welcome to the live. We're going to jump right into some things. And I just remembered I left my water and my tea in the kitchen. Just like any live, I'm going to have to get up and go get something real quick. Give me 1 second. Lord, yeah, one job. My bad, y'all. Okay. Here we go. This right here. Give y'all some time to get on anyway. All right. I gotta load up on my water and I'm coming. All right. Let's fill that up. All right, folks. I'm back. My bad. All right. I'm gonna read a few of the comments here and then we're just gonna jump right into it. All right. So let's see here. Somebody said today we are all from Alabama. By the way, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I didn't do my sound check. I think y'all can hear me. Okay, perfect. All right. Actually, you know what? Let me connect one more wire to this MacBook so that my stuff moves a little bit faster. All right. Sorry, it's been a long day. All right, I'm gonna just hook this up too, just to give us a little bit of a boost here with the speed of everything. All right, that should speed us up some more. Okay, I think I'm ready for real this time. Anyway, let me read my comments here. What was I at? Y'all are ready for this Alabama story. Look, I made sure to put Alabama in the front of the video. What up, Aisha No Curry? What up, Deja? She said, I went to the Renaissance tour last night in DC. Best experience of my life. I have stories to tell. I didn't go. I didn't go. We'll talk about it later. Let's see. What up, Shy? What up, Trevor Taylor? Shout out to Nathaniel Alexander for inventing that folding chair. Somebody said it's gonna come right on time. Somebody said, look at Calvin, it's about to get good. What up, everybody? What up? I want to kind of jump right into it because listen, our lives are getting a little too long. I've been going back and doing the timestamps. I'm like, we were really on here for 3 hours and 30 minutes. Ain't that much talking in the world, but that's okay. Oh, somebody said, sing it, Cal. Oh, y'all heard me humming. I didn't know the microphone was that good. All right, it picks up everything. All right. All right, we're gonna jump right into this just because I'm a few minutes late. Somebody said, do I have my folding chair? You know, I don't own any folding chairs. Like I told you, I think on the last live, I just keep a hammer in my car, but clearly I need to keep a chair in the back seat or in the trunk just in case. All right. One of them good metal ones that fold up. Right. Goodness. All right. Dang, y'all are jumping in here ready. All right. Shout out to Alabama. Y'all been on it. What up, the analyzer? Thank you. All right. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm just trying to get through the chat. Wait, what did I do? Y'all saying no, Calvin? What did I do? Oh, the concert. Yeah, it's a whole lot going on in life. Nothing bad though, but just life be happening. So I didn't get a chance to go. But who knows? Maybe I might travel and catch it in another city because I definitely wanted to go. But y'all know she's in like Atlanta, I think, and I think she's in North Carolina this week or somewhere. I don't know. We'll see. But man. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. By the way, thank you guys for the birthday shout outs. I was annoyed because it's like every time I go on like vacation or I leave town, that's when everything happens. Everything happens when I'm like not home. And then when I like have the urge to make some content and be like, you know what? I've been slacking on the channel. I need to really like do like 3-4 videos this week. I need to really go in and there don't be nothing going on. Right. And then as soon as I jump and get on a plane somewhere, then everything you can think of under the sun wants to happen. I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm surprised I was home for January 6th, to be honest. Like, man. So, yeah, sometimes people get mad because they're like, how come you didn't talk about this or talk about that? And I'm like, I wasn't home. Like, you clearly see I haven't done a video in like 3 weeks, so I ain't been here. But I had a nice birthday. I got a chance. I went to Atlanta, went to go visit my mama. which was very entertaining because that was not even in my initial plan. So one of my good friends has stolen my mother and made my mother their godmother. And so they were like, yeah, we're going to your mama's house, like the whole family, us and the kids. So you're welcome to come if you'd like. I was like, how y'all gonna invite me to my mama's house? Like, y'all going, I'm going too. So I went and got me a ticket and flew to Atlanta. And it was nice because, you know, a lot of my family's based in like Atlanta, Savannah. So, you know, they threw me a makeshift birthday party. My goddaughter was there. I took her to the aquarium. By the way, Atlanta, listen, that aquarium is very, very nice, I will say. But that parking was not fun. But what was so funny is, by the way, I was tired. Like, I didn't get a chance to eat before we went to the aquarium. You know, the aquarium already $45 when you get there. It's $45 a piece. So me, the goddaughter, and their mama. So it's $100 and however many dollars for the three of us. And I'm looking like, all right. But man, we went through all these exhibits. And the aquarium in Atlanta is nice. They got everything. They got that tunnel thing you can walk under and the fish is swimming over your head. I was having a great time. It was great, but I was hungry. I was lightheaded and everything. And we had seen everything. And I thought, okay, we can finally go. But the little girl, she was pressed to see the dolphin show. So we had to sit through the dolphin show. It's like, all right, the dolphin show was cool. You know, all this stuff is free once you pay the $45. So I wasn't complaining, but we had to sit in splash zone. Fortunately, we didn't get splashed. But there was some little girl that was sitting next to me who was just having a whole meltdown for the whole show. I mean, just screaming. Just, I'm like, man. And I'm tired. I'm head hurting, hungry. And so what was so funny is, like, we get out of the dolphin show. You know, dolphins been swimming and flipping and jumping, and the diver people in there. Mind you, I don't really be caring for like the zoos and aquariums because I be feeling bad for the animals and stuff. I be feeling bad seeing the whales and stuff in that little tank having to swim in a circle for 30 years. I be feeling bad. But you know, so we come out of the dolphin show, and there's these people with these green shirts. Atlanta, I need y'all to answer for this. Who are these people, right? I'm thinking these are some folks associated with the aquarium because they're like, oh, she's so cute. And they gave her, you know, those flower necklaces you get in Hawaii. Yeah, put these on. Here you go. Put those on. You take as many as you want. So they gave her like 2 of them and everything. Yeah, y'all come on over here. I'm thinking like, oh, they're going to take a nice group picture of us leaving the dolphin show with the, you know, whatever. Oh, no. These are some people like selling, I don't know if these are timeshares or what, but it was a trip to Jamaica and wherever else you want to go for just $100 down payment and some other stuff. And listen, I am really good at saying no at this point. Like, look, at this point, I got too many projects I'm trying to self-fund. So I'm real tight with the money right now. My answer is no to everything, all right? And so the guy was like, yeah, so just you and your wife, y'all can just sign up right here. And I was trying to explain, well, this technically isn't my wife. This is actually, you know, so on and so forth. But like, it's like, well, it don't matter who you want to go. You want to go to Jamaica? And I'm like, actually, not right now. I really don't. I'm actually good. So I'm good on this. He gonna get an attitude. So you don't want to go to Jamaica? I'm like, not right now. I got stuff going on. As a matter of fact, I'm flying back to DC like tomorrow. So ain't gonna be no time for Jamaica. And so he was getting pissed because like he was really trying to sell me this, whatever this was. I'm like, I'm good, bruh. We at the aquarium. I didn't spend enough money in here to get the girl. She, you know, we paid for the tickets. The little girl wanted to stand on the machine that has the camera that runs around and, you know, it gets you that full circle thing. And she blowing bubbles and dancing and posing. And then she wanted to get her face painted. So I'm just watching the money just go, right? Blood pressure getting high. And I'm just reminding myself that's only one godchild out of 3. Like I still got 2 other ones. And so I'm good on Jamaica for right now. Like Jamaica can come another time. And so he's pissed I didn't want to buy them little Jamaica tickets. I was like, man, speaking of Jamaica, so my mother's there now. She rushed me out of her home because she needed to go to Jamaica because her and her boo were going to Jamaica for like 2 weeks. She was like, you got to leave by like Monday or Tuesday because I'm flying out Thursday and I need my Wednesday night for rest. So you're going to have to go. Like, all right. So loving. All right. But anyway, my birthday was really good. And then when I got back to DC, my friends, well, I have another friend whose birthday is the day after mine. And so my good friend, Whitney, threw us like a Taco Tuesday, chop it up spot at Taco City. So that was a lot of fun, which I did have to laugh because I told him I don't want to drink because I plan on going to work tomorrow. My birthday was on a Tuesday. So I ain't trying to like drink heavy because I need to still be able to focus when I get to work. And not even 3 minutes later, here they come with the rounds of shots. I'm like, it's going to be one of those nights. But oh well. Anyway. Let me read a few comments and we're jumping right into Alabama because I know that's what y'all are on here for. Y'all can care less about some of these stories, but it's too bad because it's my channel. So you're going to get my stories. Dang it. All right. What up, Alan? Y'all are rolling real hard with Alabama. You love to see it. Yeah, man, they was really tripping about that. He was pissed I didn't want to go to Jamaica. And mind you, he kept saying it's only $99, but I knew there was a catch there. It was probably $99 down payment and some other stuff. I wasn't sure if it was a timeshare, but them timeshares, it's hard to get out of those. So I knew not to just sign up for nothing. Anything that sounds too good to be true usually is. So I was like, wait a minute. I was like, when you want to go? Queen Nanny said Parkland is horrible. Yeah, Parkland was terrible because it was like, they have the aquarium there, they have the World of Coca-Cola right there, and they have like that history museum, and it's all three right there, and they share similar parking facilities. And so I sat in that line for whatever garage I thought I was going to, and when I got there, the guy was like, "No, man, it's kind of full. You're gonna have to go to the other garage over there." And mind you, I'm driving my mama car. I'm trying to not tear it up. So, man, I ain't gonna talk about the restaurant I went to. Atlanta, y'all don't talk about DC no more. Atlanta, I just want y'all to know. Don't talk about DC no more. That's all I'm gonna say. I had a great time. The food was wonderful, but y'all know how to turn everything into a club. I was just trying to eat. I ain't trying to sound like somebody's grandpa, but man, it was like we were just trying to get the food. We couldn't even get our table because the host and everything, they got the music cranking and they working. And I'm like, hey, can we get a table? And I'm like, if I can just get a table over here, like, man. But I had a really great time. Atlanta's always fun to go to. It's always good to see family too. All right. All right, we're just gonna go right to Alabama. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I got the big glass of water today. All right, where do I want to start? So as we know, there has been this video that has gone viral, right? I mean, this has been, you want to talk about seeing some black people united on social media for 2 days. It's been a good 2 days between everybody dragging the mess out of Jennifer Aniston and everything in Montgomery. It has been a great 2 days. That's why I was a little nervous when this Tory Lanez verdict was supposed to come out. I was like, all right, I need y'all to act like y'all got some sense. Let's not mess up a good thing here. But, they pushed that back. We'll talk about Tory in a second. But so Montgomery, Alabama, there's this clip that comes out. And I want to say, I appreciate everybody who recorded. I appreciate all of those different angles. And I say that because it's very important, because a lot of times when these moments take place, people love to twist the story. People love to try to paint it to be one way to make folks look like the aggressor. And I was so glad that there were multiple clips that were out there to kind of refute any kind of claims that folks would have tried to make against these black folks. So I was so happy that so many people recorded. There's no way to deny what we all saw. So anyway, right? So I'm looking at my notes everywhere here. I had to write this word for word, and I'm so pissed because I should have just made this like some pre-made content, because I really needed the visuals on the side to really get the story to really jump the way I needed it to jump. But that's okay. I'm real imaginative, so the story's still gonna be lit. But anyway, so what I found so funny was, like, as I was seeing all of the responses, I kept seeing all these white folks like tweeting like, well, we need the context of what happened. We need to see, what happened before the actual fight. And thank God somebody had 4 minutes of footage before everything went down. And so when you see the story, there's this big old boat called the Harriet, of all names, right? This big old boat called the Harriet. The Harriet needs to dock, right? They got the big old pier. This is like, I guess this is like a downtown area. People in Alabama, y'all can correct me and tell me what the actual spot is. But, it looks like a tourist location. I'm guessing there's some restaurants and everything like that. This big old boat needs to dock. However, there is a private citizen that has his boat docked in a place where it's not supposed to be. And the black security guard, and mind you, I'm guessing he's somewhere between 45 and 60-ish, 65-ish. I don't know how old he was, but he was definitely a little bit older, right? And so he's pretty much, it shows, well, if you go back and you see the clip that is before the actual fight, it shows him like trying to figure out what to do with this boat that's in the way, because you have this big old boat filled with a bunch of tourists and people that need to get off. The boat cannot dock until that little boat is out the way. So it shows him trying to figure out whose boat it is, and then he's getting ready to actually just, unreel the boat and anchor it and just move it down so the boat can park. And then here comes Billy Bob and everybody else, mad and angry. What are you doing touching my stuff? And so they have this big old argument, right? They are arguing this man down. And he's telling them, listen, all y'all got to do is move the boat. Move the boat. You can't park here because look at this big, giant ship with hundreds of people waiting to get off. And here you go with your little 3-4-seater boat in the way. Move it. Just move it on up. And the thing is, I'm sure there were plenty of places for the boat to go. It wasn't that deep. But, folks love to argue. All right. And it's so funny because I love using people's words on them like they use on us. I was like, why couldn't you just comply? Why can't you just comply? Move the boat. Like, I couldn't wait to say that. But anyway, so They keep arguing. And the thing is, understand, white folks do not like being told what to do by black folks. They cannot stand that because they already think they're above us in everything. They already think we're just supposed to be in positions of servitude. So when black folks are in authoritative positions and get to put the foot down and get to put the hammer down, oh, that pisses them the hell off. And so in this moment, because he was by himself, they felt, oh, well, we got numbers today. So, you know what? We ain't about to just move our boat. Like, we done told you, we ain't doing it. So then out of nowhere, right? You see this man lunge at the black dude, like this white dude lunge. Now, let me tell you where I knew this was going to go wrong. First, I was already pissed when I saw him lunge because I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all paying us to be violent all day, but the minute y'all don't get y'all way, y'all be ready for pitchforks and to burn everything down. Ready, right? And again, this is all just because you need to move a boat. So I knew he messed up when I saw that he lunged at him with flip-flops on because you can't fight in flip-flops. And I mean, these are like the thong flip-flops or whatever. You know, you put the toes in the thing right here. And I'm like, now what kind of fighting you going to be doing? Like, if anything, remember that one clip where I think it's in the DMV. But damn, by the way, I got to go there too. Like, I got to fix my driver's license. They even did something wrong since my birthday. But anyway, there's this clip of the DMV. It's like this black lady. She arguing with the white woman. And remember, like, the white woman, like, I got to stand up and do this. Like, remember, like, the white woman had, like, move my chair real quick. So remember, like, the white woman had hit her, right? So then the black lady, like, she had her slides or things on. She said, so she took a minute and took the slides off and she just, like, all over the lady. Like, yeah, you can't fight in flip-flops and slides. Like, you have to be ready to be able to move and stuff. So I knew once he lunged with them flip-flops, he couldn't fight and he was about to lose. Plus, don't underestimate black men over the age of 45. I told y'all, black men, especially the ones once they start hitting 50, 60, 65, they got old man strength. Like, they just are like super strong. I don't care what it is. You're never going to catch me getting in a fight with any black man over the age of like 50, ever. Because I'm just not doing it. Like I said, they got Superman strength. They don't get tired. They are fighting from years of oppression and everything else. So I'm like, that's not the kind of smoke you want to jump into. So I was like, oh, he about to get stumped out. And then it got even better because, like, you see the black man, he takes that hat, throws that hat up. I said, oh. Listen, understand, him throwing that hat meant, like, F this job, bring on the charges. My wife is going to have the bail money anyway. What you want to do? And I don't think the man even knew what kind of danger he was in after he lunged at the black dude. Like, I don't think he understood what was about to happen next, right? And so two of them go at it. And like I said, older black men just got a special kind of strength. And mind you, this is a black man that probably grew up in Alabama in 50s, 60s, 70s. He done been through some real ish. All right. He done been there through the Jim Crow and the busing and the segregation and all that other stuff. And white folks always think they own everything and trying to threaten everybody. He done been through some BS. So the last thing he has time for is to argue with some privileged folks who don't want to move their little rink-a-dink boat so the big boat can park where it's supposed to be. He ain't got time for it. He has nothing to lose in this moment. So I knew when he threw that hat up, done. So he starts welling on the dude. I was like, good, laying him out. And then, of course, you start seeing the other white folks come in. Now, see, this is where it gets interesting because I feel like this entire situation could have, like, paused right there if those white folks that ran in came to break it up. But instead, oh no, they decided they're going to be on code because, like I said, they love to move as a unit when it comes to anti-blackness. I done told y'all before, the only time white people are united in anything is when it's time to be racist. Because other than that, you can't get them to agree on anything. Even in politics, look how they fight each other right now. They losing it. Okay, I just saw that clip of Mitch McConnell getting booed by his own people. We'll talk about that later too. But when it comes to racism, they all get on code. And so rather than coming and trying to de-escalate and pulling their guy away from the black dude, like, dude, you tripping, chill out, let's just move the boat. They all jump in. We gonna fight you. Oh, okay. Now I'm pissed off watching it and everything. I'm wishing I could jump through the phone too. And so then I see they got this black dude that runs down the ramp. And I was like, oh, okay, he good. He got some backup. I was like, thank God. Because it was pissing me off because we've seen too many cases where, like we talked about the dude in the subway where the white dude is sitting on his neck for 15 minutes and suffocates him and kills him. We've seen too many moments like that. So I was praying, like, please don't let it be one of these moments caught on camera. Because I was annoyed because then the people on the boat, they technically can't get to him until the boat docks either. So I'm like, all right, come on, give this man some covering, right? And so it's like, you see that dude run down the ramp. So now it's like two of them. Then everybody's favorite part, you see that 16-year-old kid jump off the boat, right? With determination. I mean, that boy got that. I was like, I'm going to have to go take some new swimming lessons. I thought I could swim good, but after watching him, I need to take some new lessons. I don't think I swim that good anymore. Like, just understand, do you know how heavy you are when you get out of water with full clothes on? And he still had energy to fight. I said, yeah, I know that's right. So that kid came out there And it's kind of just like one by one, they just started wrecking. So it's like the three of them versus everybody else. And then, you know, there's multiple clips. So then the next clip I see is the boat has finally docked. I said, oh, it's going down. It's going down. And for people who are pissed off that I'm tickled by this, I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes violence is the answer. I'm sorry. It is. Because there's a whole lot of folks running around here talking about, we don't condone violence. And I get that. I was with you until homeboy lunged at him with the flip-flops on, knowing he couldn't fight. Right? Until he lunged at the dude when the dude was just trying to do his job. All you had to do was move the boat. That was it. You just had to move the boat. You didn't want to do it. You wanted to jump and start swinging. And then your boys try to jump in, and rather than break it up, they're going to jump on the man too. So no, that conversation of using words is done. It was done after the lunge. Now we swinging. You lunge? Okay, lunge right into this fist. And so, man, and what got me is like, so when the boat docks and you see all them dudes running off, they ain't even got shirts on. They ready. And then here's the thing. They were skipping to the scene. Like, understand, if somebody's about to fight you and they are skipping towards you, oh, you about to get it. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where somebody wanted to fight you and you sitting there and they're coming towards you and they look skipping. I'd be like, oh, I don't know. I might have said too much today. I should, how do I get out of this one? Like, man, I knew when they started skipping, it was not going to end well for none of these people. And I was like, this is my kind of mess here. And then what's so crazy is there's another clip and it shows them trying to get in the boat. They were so stupid. Like, they had plenty of time to get in their boat and pull off. If they were smart, if they really didn't want that kind of beat down, all of them should have hopped in that boat and rolled off. But no, they was taking too long. So they couldn't get to the boat fast enough. I mean, they was yanking them out of the boat and everything. And then the white lady in the teal, I was cracking up because earlier she was on the pier too, you know, ready to throw hands. And then once the dude started running to the boat, she gonna run to the back of the boat. I was like, oh, back of the boat now, huh? Any other time y'all want us in the back of the bus, the plane, the train, in the boat. Now you want to take up all the space in the back. Come on up to the front. Come on up to the front where you normally like to be. Y'all like to be in charge of stuff. This is the moment to shine. And so, man, I was too done. And then my thing is like, you ran to the back of the boat. Then when you ran to the dock, that should have been the moment when you actually ran to stop your husband or boyfriend or whoever he was from lunging at the man. But see, that's how they do. They will sit there and let all this stuff escalate. And then when it finally comes to their front door, now they want to be victims and be afraid. That's the stuff it be pissing me off, man. Pissing me off. And so then you just get more people show up. So then there's some more white folks that show up. And again, they're on code. None of these white folks that are coming to break up anything. They just coming to find any black person they see to start swinging on. I said, boy, I'm glad we're getting all of this on camera. This is like proving the point that everybody has been making for years about how white people move collectively. Nobody is there to de-escalate. Everybody's there to fight. And all the black people that you see that are there swinging are there to defend somebody else that's already being attacked. So understand, like I'm telling you, when they move on code, they move on code. Man, I was just like, Lord. And then there was like the black lady in the white came and just started mopping everybody, because it's like now women are jumping in. Like, these are the wives and stuff. You ain't about to touch my man. You about to touch my man. Like, the poor lady in the red was just catching it from everybody. I was like, Lord. And then the dude pulled out the chair. I was like, first of all, where did the chair come from? I feel like somebody put it there just to stir it up a little bit, okay? Kind of like them old Jerry Springer episodes where sometimes he would have all kind of props and stuff on the stage for them to throw. I'm like, y'all setting this up now. But the homeboy took that chair out, just started welling on everybody. One dude was tired of getting hit. He just jumped in the water. I said, this is a day here. Like, man. And so I will say this. Because look, as soon as he knocked the lady in the head with the chair, that's when the police finally were like, all right, we was trying to let y'all slide, but now y'all doing too much. Get on the ground. Let's take you. But I will say this. For the people that were pissed off about the lady in the red getting knocked with the chair, my thing is this. All right. If you see that there is this big old giant brawl, understand that everybody is collateral. That's why you get out of the way. If you don't want to be a part of the nonsense, you move the heck up out of there. That's all I'm saying. Like, okay, for people in DC, I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all remember Club Envy? There was a club called Club Envy. I don't remember what part of town it was in. This is when I was still a college student. But hell, the name is Envy. Everybody in there mad, okay? But every time we went to Club Envy, there would be a fight every single time. And it wouldn't be like a fight with like 2 or 3 people. It'd always be like 5 or 6 people and spread. And every single time they got the wreck, and I was like, let me get on out of here. All right, y'all ready to go? Because I did not want to get caught up in the middle of all that. And mind you, this is when I was probably 30 pounds lighter than I am now. And I still got a small frame. So imagine how small I was then. I wasn't about to be in there getting my head knocked in the water. Like, I'm good. So, like, as soon as they would start wrecking, I was like, all right, y'all, it's time to go. And especially, like, when I was still in college, and they used to have the college, like, the buses take you to the club. I'd be outside waiting for the bus. Like, it's only 12:15. The club ain't closing for, like, an hour and 45 minutes. Buses ain't going to be here for another hour. I'm standing out there in the cold in my polo T-shirt because I didn't want to pay for coat check, so I just didn't bring a coat. out there freezing. Meanwhile, they inside the club throwing down. Like, understand, you are supposed to get out of the way. So my thing is, if you jump in the middle of all that, I'm sorry, you just might be collateral. That's where it is with that. Like, honestly, you see all this mess going on, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let them go ahead and duke it out and wreck it out. Eventually, they all gonna get tired and stop fighting. But you jumping right in the middle of it, things are gonna happen. So it's like, come on, put 2 and 2 together. So I was just like, man, that was a whole lot. What else was I gonna say? But I will say, what was interesting too, remember how I said, like, it's important that we always like document all these things? Because of course, you know, the people that were the aggressors, you know, these white folks, they went, of course, start making these posts. I found this post I wanted to read because, of course, they tried it in this. Let me see what they said. This was a post because, mind you, they own a store. They own a store called Vassar's Mini Mart in Selma, Alabama, of all places. So here's what the post says. The post says, I am sure most of you have seen the news about the riverboat incident. Yes, I was there, but I was the first to try and get away. Now they're trying to get away because we done turned into the Hulk. We're just so dangerous that nobody was safe. I was trying to get away. Now, mind you, this is flip-flop dude. This is flip-flop Mr. Lunge. Now he's trying to get away, right? You can see in the video I attached and do not condone what happened. Mind you, the video he attached is like a 5-second snippet of the black dude swinging him after he just did the lunge. Like, they love to try to change this narrative. I tried to stop it and realized that I could not. Now all of a sudden they ain't strong no more. Now that they're weak. This goes back to the big black huge man, and we're all big monsters and beasts, and we are just, you know, we just become feral once we get into that next zone of anger, and now nobody's safe. I just knew I couldn't stop it. So I tried to get away. No, you didn't, because I watched you roll and tuck and call other people and back up and folks jumping in water and everything else. Please. There's a video of me being the first to run away because what was happening was wrong and I did not want to be a part of it. They can't even lie good. They can't even lie good. They can't even lie good. That's why they still trying to say aliens built the pyramids. They can't lie about anything. I realized I have a business to run and represent, and no charges were filed against me because I was not involved. I know it was wrong and should have never happened. When I tell you, they get on my freaking nerves, man. Like, the people love to play these games. That's why I was saying I was so glad that they had all of these additional people that recorded and got all this footage. Because it's like, oh, no, bro, hold on. Yeah, we see the snippet that you had, but let's play the piece that was right before. And let's play everything else that happened afterwards. Like, they love to try to do that. Like, I don't want to hear it. So, just stupid. But I will say, I hope they give covering to that 16-year-old, because I like that he's getting his praise, but I don't like that they have his name out there because some people are terrible and love to do terrible things. So keep covering over that kid, please. But and kudos to him, right? Let me see. But I will say the nicknames were hilarious. Some of those nicknames I saw on social media, like the Scuba Gooding Jr., that was funny. Fade in the water. I was like, they got jokes. Like, I will say that, like, black folks, we know how to get a joke in when it's time to get a good laugh. Like, we gonna find some humor and everything. But I feel like for a lot of people watching that, I know it sounds chaotic. For a lot of folks, that was some relief. It's like, finally, somebody got what was coming to them. Because I just keep saying, like I've always said, collectively, we are too nice. We are too nice, and we put up with so much nonsense. And at some point, people get tired, right? And I think in that moment, that was people tired. And I think, like, the thing, too, I don't think dude with the flip-flops thought this out. You got a boat full of black people just about 10 feet away. You got black people above you on these ramps over here. Black people everywhere. You thought you and your boys were going to jump and well on this black man and no other person was going to step in and handle that? Like, no, that ain't how this works. So, yeah, you got exactly what was coming to you. And as for Marlon Wayans and his shenanigans, let me read the stupidity he said, because this is the stuff I be talking about. Every time we get in a good pocket, somebody got to come and mess up the energy. Every single time. Always trying to get a white appreciation certificate. It's not coming in the mail. He said, how about we not try that in a small town? Shit silly, bro. Let's all just be about love, not war. Here's my thing. Where was the love when it was time to move the boat? All you had to do was move the boat. You did not choose love in the moment when you decided to lunge and attack, right? And y'all always want to make these arguments about love, 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 love. And I'm like, this is the same collective that has literally done everything in their power especially in the last few years, to just seam rip any element of progress that benefits anybody other than them. We just watched them go and gut affirmative action, right? We just watched everything. We've seen this in the influx of the Karens for like the last 5-6 years. They use the police like freaking customer service. Every 5 minutes, they call the police about something and everything. Kids selling lemonade. We need to call the police. Kid, oh, I think the kid looked at my butt. We got to call the police. Oh, they barbecuing at the park without a permit. Let me call the police. They didn't call the police for any and everything you can think of. And they know what happens when the police are calling us. They know what the end result is. Even the man just asked you, hey, can you put a leash on your dog? And Amy Cooper, hell, that's my most viewed video on this channel. Amy Cooper called the police and cried, I'm being attacked by a black man, right? All that nonsense, right? And so my thing is like, there's no love there. Like, cut the crap. What else was I going to say? Even when we just talked about, and this is Alabama, by the way, we just talked about Patrick Braxton on the last video. That's the guy that was elected mayor of the town, and they don't want him to be in charge because they've been doing some mom and pop stuff for decades. This man been in office for 3 years and still can't get the job done. Where is the love there? This is a collective that votes out of spite to ensure that other people stay beneath them. And you're talking about love. Listen, love goes out the window once they go out of their way to make life difficult for other people. We're watching all of these DEIA, as far as diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility programs get yanked and cut down all across the country and everything else like that. Like black people, the thing that I've always said we've had to deal with, we're always burdened with the element of poise when people do us wrong. Every single time. Every single time the police shot and killed one of us unarmed, we were begged not to go and protest, not to march, keep the peace, win with love. Let's just wait to take it to the polls. This is not the time to kick over stuff. Every single time we're burdened with poise. When you saw what happened with the Charleston 9 and that stupid fool went and shot up them people in the church, after they just sat in fellowship with this fool. Bible study, they done sang, they done prayed, had a good time. And after he sat there for an hour and some change, he still had it in his heart to shoot all 9 of them. And then what's the first thing the media is going to ask these people after they just saw their loved ones get slaughtered on the news? Do you forgive him? Let me take a sip on that one. Like this stuff I be talking about. Know how to run up somebody's blood pressure, right? And so I'm just like, Marlon, please. And honestly, where was the love when them folks and them execs stole the rights to Scary Movie and created Scary Movie 3, 4, and 5 and did not include you or Sean in it, and they got all the money and you got nothing? That's the love that you're talking about. Like, no, like, I'm sorry. Like, cut the crap. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is, get out of the habit of always trying to give people an inch. Because at this point, we done gave them so many inches. Not only did they take more than a foot, they went and took $326 billion of farmland from us. Okay? Go back to the early 20th century. All right? We had 16 million acres in farmland. We're now down to what? 4.7 million? That is only 0.5% of all farmland in America. And you worried about hurt feelings because some white folks got their ass beat on a pier, starting some shit. Sorry, get over it, Marlon. And it pissed me off because he went to Howard. Like, quit embarrassing us. Some of these celebrities that be going to my school be embarrassing us, for real, man. Goodness. Listen, the Forgiveness Olympics just don't work. They don't. And this is not to say that we're supposed to just go out and start stuff for people all the time. But there is nothing wrong with black people collectively defending themselves or keeping their guard up. A lot of people don't like this channel because they think this is like an anti-white channel and I spend a whole lot of time frying up white people. Understand, being a black person and having my guard up based on the history of how black people have been treated in this country has nothing to do with whether or not I hate black people or, oh God, no, whether or not I hate white people. It's more so to do with the fact that I would love to protect my own collective against the nonsense. And so again, because white folks center themselves in everything, which we will get to, Jennifer Aniston, this is why we run into the issues we run into where folks get afraid of standing up for their own collective because they're worried about what white people are going to think or how they're going to feel or how they're going to move or how they're going to respond or how it's going to impact their livelihood and their element of comfortability. Unfortunately, the world is not a comfortable place. Everybody gets burned on this planet, and it is not our job to make sure that other people stay comfortable at our own expense. So cut the crap, Marlon Wayans. That was some BS. My goodness. Let me take a sip on that because they pissed me off. Man. And mind you, I feel like there was love. Twitter, everybody was laughing and joking. It was like a big cookout for like the last 2 days. Everybody getting along. I didn't see no drama. Not even in the collective, not even in the diaspora. There wasn't no West Africans versus the Caribbean versus black. Everybody was getting along. Everybody was in on it. We all laughing together. And here you come worried about, well, more love. The love, we got the love on our side. We was good. What you worried about them over there for? If anything, they should have been coming to help break up the stuff too, but they stirred it all up. So nah, I'm good on that. And another thing, I also need us to get out of the habit. Because I thought this conversation died some years ago, but I'm starting to see it pop up again. I don't know if it's a generational thing, and as new generations come in, they just kind of miss the memo. But that whole narrative of we are not our ancestors, y'all have to let that go. because I feel like it's very, and I think somebody else was just talking about that earlier. I think what's his name? Consciously, I think talked about it too. But it's a slap in the face to the plight of everyone who came before us to matriculate on this planet through a lens of 2023 and place any kind of judgment on anything that happened in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, even the 1900s. Like, it is not your place to try to place judgment on the experiences of what people who had to endure Jim Crow and sharecropping and convict leasing and black holes and race riot. Like, it is not in your it's not in your space to ever try to place judgment and assume that you come from this place of superiority where you are stronger than the people before us. Because honestly, if the people before us weren't as strong as they were, we wouldn't be here right now. So I think we have to get out of the habit of trying to dismiss the experience of those who came before us. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, to be honest, most of us wouldn't be able to put up with half of what they put up with. We don't even like when it's hot outside. Look, we got the luxury of AC. As a matter of fact, I got to turn mine on because I'm burning up in here. But hell, y'all can still hear me. But okay. But yeah, we don't even like being hot, right? We get luxury of AC. Imagine being out in a damn field all day. And there's no such thing as 9 to 5 during slavery. You're gonna work until they say you done. All right. Ain't no such thing as lunch break. Ain't no such thing as anything like that. So imagine being out in the field working in that heat all day. All right. There's no Gatorade and stuff to get your electrolytes up. You know what I mean? You might have a limitation on how much water you can get that day. Imagine you getting your families and stuff snatched up and broken apart and split around and moved around because it's, price for the highest bidder. That has not been our experience in modern time. Imagine the idea of being castrated, right? That's not our experience. The idea of having to give birth without a doctor. You on your own. Here's a stack of hay. Be like Mary and Joseph over in Bethlehem. Go lay on some hay and push the baby on out. And then you need to come on back to work in about 2 days. And even with that, not to gross y'all out, but just think about in childbirth where you have a lot of women who tear. Imagine being a woman who tears in the 16 and 17 and 1800s and you don't get any medical care. You just got to work it on out. Like, that's reality for people who had to deal with what they dealt with. If anything, be grateful you were born when you were born. Now, listen, we still got a whole lot of nonsense going on right now. So when people are always like, we are not our ancestors, I'm like, well, then what happened? Because, some of our ancestors, some of the stuff that they got accomplished, now we're watching it get seam ripped. And every single time there's policy that comes in and different things that collectively pretty much disenfranchise Black people, a lot of folks are silent. So I'm wondering if maybe some of us are weaker than our ancestors if we want to go there. That's all I'm saying. So please stop tearing down the plight of those who have come before us. They spent their whole lives fighting and technically never even got to see the liberty that some of us get the luxury of having, even though we're not really living in a space of liberty either. So I'm just in that space. Let us not diss the folks. That's kind of like, remember, what's his name? Shamik Moore, when he was talking about Rosa Parks. It was like, she should have just got in a cab. Let's do better. I made a video on that too. I'm going to pause for a second and read some comments because we covered a lot. And then, yeah, we will keep going. I got a whole bunch to cover tonight. All right. Damn, my chat does not go all the way up to the top anymore. All right. Well, I missed some of y'all comments. Sorry, y'all. The thing is only letting me go so far up. I don't know if YouTube is updated or something, but we'll see what we got. Don Smart, the young lady in Kentucky got shot for nothing or no reason. I don't know if that's about Breonna Taylor, but I also find it very interesting that Daniel Cameron is getting ready to try to run for governor. Now, remember, he's the DA that pretty much was a part of that whole cover-up with the Breonna Taylor case. And now he gets the luxury to run for office. Imagine that. Let me see. Damn, man, I'm trying to see that says top chat. That's why. Let's change it to all. Or live chat. That's what I need to see. Okay, here we go. Now I can see everybody's stuff. I think. Damn, maybe not. Okay, I don't know what this chat's doing, but we'll keep going. This thing is so annoying. YouTube, stop changing stuff. Nobody told y'all to do all this. All right, so for those of y'all whose comments I missed, don't worry. I will try to come back to them at some point. But let me see. Somebody said, or Shansi Muhammad said, our ancestors were about that life. Please read up on all the slave rebellions, poisonings, houses mysteriously burned down, beheadings. And I think a part of that, too, is, they never really would put the effort into technically teaching certain things that they didn't want to teach. Like, they weren't going to teach us about rebellions in school because they didn't want people to start getting ideas. One of the main reasons why they love breaking up all of the different groups that were brought over was break them up so they can't speak the same language. Put a bunch of folks in there who speak different languages. And then, we don't have to really worry about them organizing or plotting things. So, yeah, I feel like even the movies they often would have us watch when it was Black History Month and they started doing the Black History. Probably all of us had to watch Long Walk Home, right? That's the movie with Sissy Spacek and Whoopi Goldberg, where it's about the bus boycott. But they have Whoopi so nimble and soft, and if it wasn't for Odessa who helped them, and she started volunteering her car, then nobody would have made it. There was, it's always been an element of like a white savior complex in every kind of movie we had back then. So it was either that or we were just all doomed. Even the original version of Roots. Remember, like by the time you get to like the sixth, I think the sixth installment. And I don't know how many of y'all have seen like the original Roots, but remember when it was like, at this point, I think the Civil War was over. They were already free. But, some folks were like, F that, y'all still are owned. And so there was the one dude who was white, or I don't know what he was, but he was like a friend to the family. And there was a situation where they were going to lynch one of the black folks, and he fought to save them. And so they said, instead of lynching them, we're going to make you whoop him instead. So, he whooped them a few times until the folks on the horses rode off, and then he just started hitting the ground with the whip and everything. They would always change the narrative to make it seem like we could never do anything on our own without getting support. And so I think it plays a role into like just what has been taught, kind of how a lot of the history is very whitewashed and watered down to make it seem like we're in a space where we can't do anything. That's why you have these stupid idiots that have all jumped on this bandwagon of, well, slavery was beneficial. You have all these people saying it technically was, and people over here doing think pieces and, well, let me play devil's advocate. They were able to do lots of masonry, and I'm like, y'all just, I swear. I swear. I'm going to just stop right there because you know what? YouTube don't like me like that. YouTube been trying to get me out of here, so I'm not going to say too much. I already said too much tonight. Somebody said babies being used as gator bait. Like, there's just too much in the history of nonsense that is going on. Like, man, I love the fact that boat was called Harriet. That's funny to me. Sorry, my lips getting dropped. Talk too much. Let me see. Oh, God. Rainy J said, yes, I had 33 stitches in and out. More power to you. God bless you. Toya 8169 JM said, we can't handle any inconvenience and have the nerve. Honestly, like, look at what happened when COVID hit, right? COVID hit, and half of us lost our minds because we were told to stay in the house. Now, me, I had a great time. I like being at home. I'm some good company for myself. I had a great time. But a lot of folks lost their minds, right? They ain't like being told what to do. So, man. All right, let's see. Okay, we're on the same page. Simply Get Paid said, moral of the story, no illegal parking on the river. Now we can do this the easy way, or that's all it was. All you had to do was move the boat. you just had to move the boat. Y'all done all got stumped out and beat up, and you didn't even have to go through all that. And then it was so crazy because one of the guys that got laid out, he uploaded a video of himself. I mean, eyes swollen. He got the little things in his nose to stop the bleeding. All this is scratched up. He looks like he done got in a fight with the lawnmower. Like somebody threw him into a lawnmower face first. He done been through it. And it's like, now, was that really worth it? Y'all just had to move the boat. You just had to move the boat. And don't ever try to start a fight in flip-flops ever again. Ever again. Ever again. Goodness. Somebody said, I'm trying to stay awake for this. Don't worry, it's going to replay after the live is done. All right. The riverfront in Alabama is where the slaves were auctioned. That's honestly, to be honest, most riverfronts in a lot of metropolitan cities. So whether you go to Savannah, you go to Charleston, you go to Alexandria, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, like a lot of these places were ports where, enslaved people got yanked off and sold for auction right there once they hit the coastline. So yeah, there's a history there. Like some of that stuff is just rooted around there. Oh, Javonna D said Selma, Lord Selma. Yeah, that was the movie with Journey Smollett. And some of those movies were really interesting to me because a lot of times there wasn't an end goal in the movie. It would always end with symbolism. Like, so with Selma, Lord Selma, that's about, the marches on Selma, and they kept getting sprayed with the hoses and gas and everything. And the movie kind of centers on them just having resilience. So every single time they go to march, they get beat up. They just keep fighting and fighting. And that's the movie. Kind of like even one of my favorites, though, that Disney movie Color of Friendship. And we talk about this a million times. But where the white girl from South Africa comes to stay with the Dellums, the black family in Congress that lived in D.C. And this is like during the 70s, during apartheid South Africa. And so they actually do address a lot in there. Like, that's how I learned about Stephen Biko, because that would have never been anybody I would have ever heard of as a child. Like, Stephen Biko, I don't think I heard about again until I got to college. But, they have all these really great, the movie was getting real good. Like, it was getting deep. Piper, she had this one friend. I think he was East African, but he had asked her, like, do you think, Mari Bach would ever let you come to her house in South Africa? Like, he was trying to give her the wake up call, like, understand, the girl lives in a different world than you. The movie was getting good. Then at the end of the movie, because Piper chewed that girl out, like, let her have it, right? You don't have any black friends. And then, what's the girl's name? Mari Bach was like, no, we have Flora. Now, mind you, Flora was the house servant that her family paid and everything. And she was like, you think Flora would stay around if you didn't pay her? She's probably your slave. I'm like, oh, like the movie was getting good. And then, of course, Mari Bach got her feelings hurt and ran down the stairs and cried. And then the movie ends with the dad coming out and the two of them talk about some bird where the bird comes in a bunch of different colors and they all sit in a happy nest and live happily ever after. And then the movie ended. I was like, what? What happened with the rest? But it is what it is. Thank you, official BNA Music 88. He said, got that link back for Soma, nut for the buck. All right, we got to keep it moving because we are not doing 3 hours tonight. I ain't got it in me. We're going to keep it going. I apologize. For some reason, the chat did not let me get to half of these comments from the first half of the story. But like I said, I always go back and watch the live chat after the video re-upload. So I do see everybody's comment. And then I try to address certain things in the chat that I think are worth talking about in the next live if I can get to them. Because sometimes you guys bring up some really great topics or questions. Let me see. Somebody said, Calvin, tell these people to thumbs up the video. 1,000 people in here, only 200 likes. I don't think I ever tell people to thumbs up or not. I don't be pressed about it. Whether y'all like it or not, I'm still going to feel how I feel. It is what it is. All right, we got to keep it moving because Jennifer Aniston, you're next. All right. So then we get to Jennifer Aniston. Again, people inserting themselves in everybody's business and then centering themselves and thinking everybody's supposed to think the way they think. So some days back, Jamie Foxx had made a post. Now, mind you, we just happy Jamie was alive because ain't nobody knew what was going on with him for the last 3 months. So he made this post that he actually deleted. The post said, they killed this dude named Jesus. What do you think they'll do to you? Hashtag fake friends, fake love. That is it. Right? Now, I saw that post. I immediately got it like, okay, yeah, there'd be some folks that be in your circle. You can't always trust everybody because there's some folks out here to burn you. Cool. Then there starts to be this movement where there's a lot of people who are thinking that these are anti-Semitic statements because it goes back to the conversation of when you talk about in the Bible, the people that technically crucified Jesus were the Jewish folks. And so folks are like, this is anti-Semitic. And they started running with that. And so Jennifer Aniston out of nowhere, right? Because I guess she must have liked the post. And then people saw that she liked the post. So she was catching smoke from folks. So she makes this post and it says, this really makes me sick. I did not like, in quotes, this post on purpose or by accident. And more importantly, I want to be clear to my friends and anyone hurt by this showing up in their feeds. I do not, in caps, support any form of anti-Semitism. And I truly don't tolerate hate, in caps, of any kind, period, with a capital P and a period, right? And I'm over here confused because I'm like, what are you talking about? And I think a lot of people were confused. Everybody's like, what are you talking about? Like, he said nothing about any collective of people. He specifically said hashtag fake friends. Fake friends. That's it, right? It's one thing to misinterpret, but it's another to become overtly outraged and overperformative, and then you roll out the hammer and start doing the most. And like the thing that's crazy about it is people took Jamie Foxx's post and I mean, they ran with it. I mean, when you want to talk about a reach, I mean, they ran from like Denver to Indonesia. They was hopping over islands and jumping over seals trying to stretch this one out. I'm like, y'all love to kind of really like make things out of nothing every single time. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like social media sometimes, because you have all of these different people from various backgrounds and experiences all sharing the same collective and communicative spaces. And a lot of times what ends up happening is when you have a specific collective, and I'm specifically talking about a lot of white folks who center their reality in everything, they center themselves and their reality in everybody else's experience. So a lot of times they feel that the rest of us see the world that, the same way they do. And so for her to somehow see a post that had nothing to do with her, no context, I guess you must have hit like or unlike or whatever happened. People started giving you smoke. And rather than you getting confirmation about what the post was, you took it amongst yourself to go ahead and pretty much, what would I want to say? What's the word I want to use? What's a good one? I need a good word here. hell, forget it. But you pretty much to sit here and put out an entire narrative of what you think everything was about, right? What you think it was, and then overreact and pretty much you done pretty much tried and convicted this man for something he didn't even do. The man, he might still be on an oxygen tank when he get to the house, and here you go trying to throw out the hammer. And the thing is, you know what kind of tsunami any kind of conversation with anti-Semitism brings in reality, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's in the real world. They have no problem making an example out of folks. And so I was like, you know what kind of wave that's going to bring. So the fact that you already didn't even really have the full context of whatever it was he was talking about, and then you jump in there and then you center yourself in it because you somehow misinterpreted everything, made it about you, somehow turned yourself into the victim, turned him into the aggressor, and now all of a sudden you want to be a spokesperson for the people and you don't tolerate hate of any kind. How did y'all get all of this from Jamie calling out whatever fake friend burned him? Like, man, sometimes y'all need to just mind y'all business. Like, I don't know why people are obsessed with trying to make black people the face of hate. Like, they've been trying to make black folks the face of anti-Semitism. They've been trying to make black folks the face of anti-Asian hate. And I'm kind of like, what I find so funny, in all reality is like, we have seen all kind of political movements lately where people show up to political rallies with whole Nazi flags and nobody has anything to say. You got people trying to act like the Holocaust didn't happen. It wasn't too bad. Nobody has anything to say. You got people going out, like even when you want to talk about the conversation of anti-Asian hate and all this other stuff, it's all these other collectives and everything. But the minute you think you see a post from Jamie Foxx, now you want to roll out. You want to roll out and bring the troops out. Tucker Carlson, when he had that show, used to say all kind of crazy stuff almost every other day on the show. A lot of these folks have built an entire identity on being terrible people and make a whole lot of money off of it. And y'all don't call any of them folks out. But the minute you misinterpret what you think Jamie Foxx said, now you all of a sudden want to be a soldier for the people. Like, get out of here. Like, that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like, it's the nonsense. And so, like I said, everybody's been silent on all of this nonsense. Every single time there's a DeSantis rally or a Trump rally or all these folks who think that, I don't know, the deep state is out to get Trump and we must take over, and the Elon Musks and all the, the Tatum, whatever his name is, the Tate dude. All of these people post all this crazy stuff all the time. Everybody's silent. Here comes somebody who don't even post about whatever it is you think you're talking about, and you want to make an example out of. Like, it's crazy. Even when you go back to the whole anti-Asian hate thing, if you want to go after that, you can even jump into the media. Think about every time you watch a news story and they bring up the country of China. They don't say, oh, over in China, blah, 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 blah. What do they say? Communist China. They can't wait to let you know what kind of government they have. And you don't hear that about anywhere else. You don't hear them saying, over in monarch Britain. I know the UK also still has parliament and everything else like that, but they don't say, oh, in monarch Britain, but like, get out of here. And then, Jamie, I don't know what you apologize for. That's where I got mad at you. Like, come on. But to be fair, he already be straddling the fence anyway, because you see who he be dating. But anyway, like, man, it was kind of like, why are you apologizing? Like, because now that you've apologized, it makes it seem as if you technically did something wrong. And then I saw all these folks come and say, we accept his apology. Who are y'all? Like, what are y'all? All of y'all, everybody's stupid. Every last one of y'all just stupider than stupid. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, get out of here. Like, man, I swear, we'd really be all right if people had the same energy for anti-blackness. Like, if folks had this kind of energy for anti-blackness, we'd all be all right. But, for some reason, we just got to catch all the smoke, and it's fine. They can do all the racist stuff all day. Nobody has anything to say. We can get shot, stabbed, killed, lost in the woods, and come back with half a head over in Mississippi, and everybody's silent. And then you think there's a post that gets misinterpreted, and now y'all want to bring up the troops. Because you had all kind of groups and everybody trying to get Jamie to apologize and donate to different organizations and causes. I was like, y'all be so full of crap. And just understand, this is what I was saying, like, again, sometimes stop jumping into black spaces. Sometimes some spaces are not for you because you can't quite understand the context of what it is we're talking about, because we are speaking a language that everybody can understand. There's just some stuff we do in-house. One of the funniest examples, I don't know if I talked about this in the podcast, but, when I was still at the old job, like one of my coworkers, black woman, right? And our boss was an Asian woman. They were having a disagreement about something. So the boss lady was like, would you like to step outside? Now, when she said, would you like to step outside? What she meant was, would you like to step outside and talk about this? Because she didn't want to have the conversation in front of everybody else. Because to be honest, my coworker was cooking the mess out of boss lady, and my coworker was proving boss lady wrong on everything, and boss lady was embarrassed. So she wanted to go outside and have a quieter conversation in the hall. Coworker did not interpret, do you want to step outside the same way? That to her, because boss lady said that all of us, look, step outside. What? And I was like, man, boss lady don't even know what kind of danger she in right now, because my coworker can fight. So I was like, Lord, man, please spare this lady, because she don't know what kind of danger she in. But again, like, that just goes to show That's kind of the flaw with social media. When everybody can share the same space, there's a lot of conversations that get misinterpreted, and then people center their reality and what they think something means, and then they overreact. Kind of reminds me. So even with the situation, remember, I think Beyonce, Lizzo too. I got to talk about Lizzo later on as well. But remember, both of them caught some slack because they had the word spaz in their lyrics. Now, for a lot of Black folks collectively, that's been a term we have used for years and years amongst ourselves and everything else like that. But apparently over the UK, it's more of a slur that more so goes after, different groups of people that don't have the same abilities and everything else like that. And so when that went down, you had all these people just flying and we need to cancel Beyonce, we need to cancel Lizzo because they did this, they did that. And in reality, it's fine to be offended about a term, but there should have probably been clarification. Like a smarter thing that should have taken place in that moment should have been, hey, just so y'all know, I know that over here, this means something different, but we just want you to know that over in the UK, it does have this meaning. So we just, maybe, I don't know, when you tour and perform these songs in the UK, maybe you change the lyrics, as opposed to erasing the experience of an entire collective to, again, fit a narrative that it was not a part of their reality. No disrespect to people in the UK, but we are not living over there with the lingo that you guys have in the same way that y'all don't with what we have. And it's not trying to give a pass to people using anything that would be deemed a slur, but the idea of putting a context of a word on a collective in a community that has never had that association with that term ever, and then trying to paint them to be the face of ableism or being ableist. I'm like, y'all move so funny. Like, my God, Lord, make it make sense. Anyway, what I will find funny is living single is trending. Black folks, we love to find a reason to go after friends every single time. I was like, man. All right, I'm going to go to some comments, and then we will jump to the next subject. Like I said, I'm trying to not be on here for 3 hours tonight. Like, I don't know. That was so stupid. You see how quick they switched up on Jamie? Real quick. Man didn't say nothing. And mind you, he had took his post down when he realized that, hey, people might be interpreting this the wrong way, and let me just take it down. But no, they already done brought out the troops, ready to march. He's better than me. I wouldn't have apologized. I'm sorry. Absolutely not. Y'all just have to be mad. Jen done got away all these years being a mediocre actress, getting overpaid, and got the nerve to still move out of pocket. Like, relax, Jennifer. Man. Somebody said, is your Cash App with an uppercase or lowercase G? It's all lowercase, but thank you. Corey T said Jennifer told on herself. The thing was, like, all you had to do was mind your business. That's the part that makes it funny. Folks be getting caught up in stuff because they don't mind their business. When you talk about Ahmaud Arbery, what ended up happening? 3 random white dudes who don't know how to mind their business went and chased a black man and then sadly killed that man. They done ruined their lives, and now they locked up forever because they could not mind their business. Always thinking that you have access to everybody's space. Every time. Like I told y'all, folks think they own everything. They think they own us. They think they own our opinions. They think they own our music. They think they own our food. Everything. We ain't allowed to exist as is. We don't get to have agency in anything. Everything we do has to be in correlation with what somebody else already thinks or approves of. Like, that's some nonsense. Y'all got this game effed up. Sydney Bullock said, that's the post. That was the post. That was the post. That's the post that brought out the troops and all kind of statements and everything else. Now, get out of here. Get out of here. It's fake outrage. I need to go look at her social media. Let me see what she was saying about all these black folks that's been getting killed over the years. I don't remember hearing too much. Yeah. Y'all gonna make us the face of anti-Semitism and make us the face of anti-Asian hate. And mind you, no disrespect, but we're actually disrespecting this one. Asian community got behind Edward Blum and got fooled into being a ploy for his nonsense, and they done went and steam ripped and gutted affirmative action. Now black folks got to fight even harder to get into schools. Like, imagine that. But y'all gonna make us the face of the hate. Get out of here. A freaking reach, man. And by the way, when we're talking about affirmative action, I want people to also understand the purpose of it was mainly because the pool was just not diverse enough. Very talented and overqualified black individuals were being overlooked because they didn't even have a shot to be in the pool to be considered. That's why we had it. A lot of people like to take the narrative and say, oh, it's just putting in a bunch of unqualified black folks in the spaces they have no business being in, when in reality, it has nothing to do with that. And when we want to talk about qualifications, we've seen a lot of folks from this collective who do not belong in the spaces that they're in. Hell, look at who the last few presidents have been, right? Bare minimum and get to be president. You got current orange man. He got however many indictments and charges and everything else he has, and he's still the front runner for the next presidential campaign. You know, meanwhile, we got to cure cancer, go to 2 Ivy League schools, have 2 dogs, have perfect credit score, you know, never have stepped on an ant, make sure that we protect the bees and have a bee hive in the backyard, and make sure we drive a climate change efficient car and everything else to even be considered half as good to even qualify to possibly even be somebody's vice president, right? Meanwhile, Cuckoo Man can do whatever he wants, just get up in there. So stupid. All right. Jay Lee said, yes, they clone Tyrone was excellent. I haven't seen it yet. I'm behind on all the shows, all the movies. I've been putting in work with a bunch of other stuff right now, so I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of stuff, sadly. So I'm behind on everything. Like, man. Deneen Grant said, yep, choked out for 11 minutes. I think that's about dude on the subway. And everybody sat there and watched. Y'all laughing about the story about the boss. All right, I'm going to keep going just because we got a lot more stories to get through. Okay. All right, what do we have next? Oh, I was supposed to say that. I'll come back to that later. Actually, no, I'm going to say that too. One other thing too. So even going back to this idea of like with social media and again, sharing the same communicative spaces with everybody where everybody has access to everybody's opinion. There was this one time, I don't even remember what I tweeted about, but it was something like legit serious, like some real talk about stuff. Random white woman comes into my mentions about it. She was pissed. She didn't like what I said. And I'm pretty much, and really like, I was speaking about something from a very structural standpoint. Like whatever I was tweeting about, it had something to do with policy, something that affected Black people collectively in a negative way. And so I'm talking about some kind of policy that they had just voted on. Oh, you know, I think I was talking about opportunity zones and how opportunity zones was some BS and how it was a way to kind of expedite the process of gentrifying neighborhoods. Because again, the flaws that existed with opportunity zones, even though the last administration loved to try to push that as advancement for Black people, because it was like, oh, we're going to find these neighborhoods that need opportunity and give, you know, businesses, you know, all kind of tax breaks and everything else to start these businesses or whatever in these neighborhoods. But when in reality, in order for this to work, you already had to have a viable business and everything else like that. And when you got into what happened with the opportunity zones, the majority of all that went into hospitality, real estate, hotels. And so people who already had money, who already could just go and out buy everything, went right into these spaces, bought up all the property, bought up all the space, got all these tax breaks and everything else like that. And the actual local mom and pop Black business owners who were trying to get on, but did not have the proper representation, whether it be lawyers or support from the banks, they were left out of the program. And the worst part about the whole opportunity zone stuff was that there was no stipulation or line items in the bill stating that if you create in these neighborhoods, you have to ensure that the residents of the area are a part of that creation. You have to ensure that there are jobs for the residents in that area. You have to ensure that your business being there is going to support that community. None of that was in there. So you watched a whole bunch of areas just get gentrified even faster. So I was talking about that. So the white lady came in. I don't remember what she said. She said something stupid that had nothing to do with it. She made it about her individual opinion. And I just was like, listen, I don't speak white. Just keep it moving. So she took offense to it and was like, she got pissed off. So then she just faded my mention. I was like, can you just like go? And she's like, no, I'm not leaving because I'm fighting racism. I was like, y'all just... God, y'all really don't get it. You really don't. You just don't. Just dumb. All right. Anyway, just stupid. God, make it make sense. Okay, give me the strength to talk about this story. Tory Lanez. This is gonna be real quick. By the way, y'all, please act like y'all got some sense when this verdict comes out tomorrow. Please do. We've been having a good 2 days. Let us not go backwards, please. All right. Anyway. But, you know, so they were supposed to have the sentencing today. They pushed it back to tomorrow because, you know, they had a bunch of litigation and different things that were happening. The prosecution has been pushing for 13 years. There's a few things I wanted to read real quick. We're about to see how unified we are when you start seeing these opinions on this case. The judge pretty much, let me see. Judge Hereford said he believes Lane's actions after the shooting, as far as the social media posts and harassment of Megan, are a major aggravating factor in his sentence. He says he won't consider the lack of remorse, but he says considering the post-shooting actions are similar. So, like, listen, it's about to get real interesting. One other piece, let me see. There was something else I was going to read on here. Yeah, his lawyers are asking for probation while acknowledging he's legally presumed ineligible for probation. Lanez maintains his innocence, but says if he did do it, it's because of his traumatic childhood and alcoholism, so he needs therapy, not prison. It's very complicated. I'm just going to say this. Like, the thing that annoys me the most in all of this, and I said this about 6ix9ine and some of these other ones that keep getting caught up in stuff, I get pissed when people are given the opportunity to live their dream. You literally get the opportunity to go and make music and get paid to do it. And mind you, Tory got a son and everything. So when folks are always like, oh, well, he got a son and everything else like that, I'm like, well, if you know you have a son and all of these great things, then why do you even allow yourself to end up in a situation where there's a gun and somebody has been shot? Like, I am not here with that. Like, I'm sorry. And then the thing is, when all this stuff went down, who did you run behind? You running behind academics. That is one of the stupidest people on the planet. Anybody that follows academics, I'm sorry, I'm judging you off the bat. So you got behind a bunch of stupid folks, and you, even if you necessarily weren't wording everything, you were right there with the spearheading of the campaign when we talk about misinformation that was being put out there. And so it's kind of like, for all the nonsense that took place, like, listen, when you're already in trouble, you're supposed to lay low. You're supposed to be a model citizen. You're supposed to be rubbing babies' heads and doing church drives and passing people plates of greens and cornbread and stuff. And here you go, you putting out diss tracks and everything else. Y'all just didn't move smart in any of this. And I'm just like, again, you had the opportunity to just make music and enjoy. And y'all end up in these stupid situations. And mind you, y'all never do anything for the collective until after y'all get in trouble. And then you want everybody to come and rally behind you. And it's so crazy because what I don't like is everybody centers this on Tory's feelings. And it's almost like the hell with Meg. The woman got shot in the foot. And they will give Tory all this sympathy. Meg gets no sympathy. The girl's mama done died, daddy dead, grandma ain't around. That woman has nobody in her corner. Literally everybody has turned on her. And mind you, she didn't even want to press charges in this. She was trying to let this mess slide. Stuff still went down. She did what it is she did. Folks want to jump on, she was lying. She lied about being in a relationship with him. Who cares? At the end of the day, that ain't got nothing to do with getting shot, right? And so it's kind of like you just see people move so interested in that. And so I hate that the outcome for both of them is what it is. But it's kind of like I need people to start just using some common sense sometimes. Like, man, don't jump in the space of always trying to all of a sudden create the conversation about how the system does this wrong, but you're constantly playing Russian roulette with the system. And then when the system makes an example out of us, you get mad. Like, come on, man. It reminds me, and even again, with the whole idea of him saying, well, if he did do it, it's because of a traumatic childhood. That should have been the approach you had during the trial. That was never in there. So you can't bring that now all of a sudden because none of that matters. You've already been found guilty. So it's kind of like that's the stuff you probably should have put in the beginning. It reminds me of this one time. My brother made me so mad one time. I'm not even going to say what he did because it was so stupid. But just know, he got suspended for 10 days from school from this crap. And I had just got out of undergrad, so I just knew I was Mr. Lawyer. And I was pissed because I thought the school overreacted. And so I kept asking him, I'm like, Marcus, did you actually do this? No, I didn't. You're sure? You sure? You didn't do what they're saying you did? No, I didn't do it. Okay, so I'm like, I'm 10 toes down with you and everything. And so I went to the school because we were going to go and appeal the suspension because I was like, okay, at least cut it down to 3 days because in Washington State at the time, they have a thing called the Becca bill. When you miss more than 13 days of school, automatically you fail everything. There's no coming back. And I think he'd already probably missed a day or two before. And so being suspended for 10 days, that's cutting it real close. And I don't know if the Becca's bill is still a thing, but it was a thing when I was in school, however long ago. And so anyway, we done rolled 10 toes that I done gave him everything he needs to say. We're going to ride this out. You didn't do it. Blah, 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 blah. This is what you're going to say when the principal talks to you, when the board asks you. This is what we're going to do. Like, I got this all figured out because I didn't just got out of undergrad. I think I got the world figured out. We get in there. Things were going the way they were supposed to go. We were kind of winning. I don't know if it was the principal or some administrator was like, okay, so do you have anything you want to say for yourself? And he goes, well, no, actually, let me backtrack. Because before we got in the car, he was like, I'm just going to admit to it. This is while we're in the parking lot. I was like, no, you're not. Like, we done went through all this. You didn't do it because you said you didn't do it. Ain't no admit. And he was like, I just don't want the stress of this. F that. We already got a plan. We're sticking with it because if you mess this up, it ain't going well. So fast forward back to the thing. Everything's been going well. He done stuck the plan. Then the guy was like, do you have anything you want to say for yourself? And he was like, I apologize for what I may not have done because it could have been offensive, but I didn't mean it. I was like, motherfucker. I was so mad with him. The school was like, They cut it down to 7 days. I was so annoyed with him. I was like, Mark, it was the car ride back was silent to the house. We were just in the car. Like, I ain't even have no music on. I was so mad at him. I was like, we had a full, and like, I had this crap together. All he had to do was do everything I told him to do. I was so mad at him. Got me looking crazy. Lord, that's how it be. Oh, it's okay. Man, and by the way, I'm side-eyeing all the people who turned this entire Tory and Meg situation into an element of currency. There's a lot of people who made entire profiles and became folks off of all of this, right? The idea of creating a bunch of confusion. There were folks who purposely went and put out bad information, who purposely went in there to stir this up, to stir the pot, because they knew it could bring audiences. They knew it would bring clout. They knew it would bring a whole lot. It would bring revenue. And like, understand, I've said this before, in the same way that I talk about people who get behind a lot of crazy politicians that don't have any real policy, they literally just have hatred in their hearts and just hate everybody, and folks get behind them. Like I said, even in the same realm, you have people who sometimes, when they don't have a sense of self or a sense of purpose, so they don't really understand what their placement on this earth is for, a lot of times it's easy for them to jump into some nonsense. And a lot of folks couldn't wait to hop on this nonsense here and just be all on the wrong side of history. It is what it is. I hate to see how all of this ends up, because, listen, I don't like seeing folks get put away either, but damn, people need to put two and two together. Sometimes things go down in the wrong way and shit happens. But man, to sit here and try to create smear campaigns and try to lie about facts when we all saw a video of a woman, it was to the point where people were trying to say the girl didn't even get hit with the bullet. We're watching the girl hop out of the car with her foot bleeding. Like, come on. Like, it is what it is. You know, kudos to, best of luck to everybody involved, but that ain't my ministry. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me pause, read some comments. Some folks gonna be mad about my Tory opinion, but I'm sorry. We're not about to sit here and keep acting like everybody's Malcolm X when they get in trouble. Y'all do that every single time. Y'all let folks be terrible people and do a lot of dumb stuff. And then as soon as they get caught up, now you want to turn them into Malcolm X and Fred Hampton. And I think what pisses me off even more, I was just gassing up Tory right before all that happened. Like, I remember doing a live and I was saying, like, you know what? Somebody I really have enjoyed watching his, like, rebrand was Tory. Because remember, his IG lives were actually really fun to watch. Like, it was a good time. Everybody laughing. Good times. Then he go and do this nonsense and get caught up in it. Like, what? Oh, disappointing. But yeah, every single time folks go do some dumb stuff, y'all want to treat all of a sudden they were for the people. He was building a school in Detroit for the kids. I'm like, what school? And I'm like, even when you were seeing the letters, they talking about he done started the prayer circle in the jail and everything. All right, amen to him. Good, amen. But all right, we needed that before you got in trouble. I'm not placing judgment, but damn, come on, y'all. Lord. Oh God, what is this? Jalil 1814. Did you see that viral video of Jennifer Gardner and Regina King? And I did see that crap. They're sitting here talking about where everybody's from, and then Jennifer asked, but like, where are you from? Like, she wanted to know, like, you know, if you've traced your lineage back to motherland and all. I'm like, why do y'all do that? Where are you from? Did you go back and look up whoever was in Slovakia? Like, stop doing that. Anyway. Somebody said, Calvin, did you see Neo's apology? Neo need to stop talking too. For somebody who made a woman go and tie her tubes because he didn't want children, and then he went and had children with another woman, he has no room to talk about anybody in regards to parenting or anything. He should just shut up. Neo, stop talking. That's why you ain't had a hit since 2008. All right. No goddamn sense. I promise y'all I'm a nice person. I swear I really am. But these lives, this is like the unloading session. You just gotta let it all out, so you don't go and punch nobody in the back of the face at work. All right. Boo, she said just how much trauma he intentionally subjected Megan to when knowing he did what he did. And the thing, this is the thing I'll say with Megan's situation too. Understand, Meg never really said a whole lot until she pretty much had to go and testify. But you've watched there pretty much just be a smear campaign where everybody's out to get Meg. Even when it comes to her music career, I don't even know if she will ever get to be in a space where she will have the same opportunities, because so many doors have closed because she got shot. Imagine that, right? And so it is what it is. If folks want to be Tory disciples, and I'm like, name me 3 Tory Lanez songs that you actually listen to. Because some of y'all didn't pay attention to him until he got caught up in the mess, and now all of a sudden you're fans. That's weird to me. It's very weird. I'm like, you got security. What you running around with? Okay, never mind. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. All right. You know, pulled the whole, that I remember that too. They pulled the fragments out of her foot, and people ran for months talking about she didn't have any fragments in her foot. I remember, I think she went to the Grammys, and they're like, how's she wearing heels if she got shot? It's like, okay, now everybody's the doctor too now. Do better, people. Anyway, okay, where are we going here? Oh, this was a great one here. This is not going to be a long one. I enjoyed watching this clip of Mitch McConnell get booed at whatever little rally he was at, right? And so if you see the clip, he's trying to do some speech, and the people will not even let him get a word out. They are booing him worse than they was booing Lindsey Graham. But I'm going to say this. The part that gets me is y'all are doing all this booing, but y'all keep voting for these people. So for me, it's kind of like some of y'all need to just lay in the bed that you made for yourselves. Y'all had an opportunity to get him out of there in 2020, and y'all put him right back in there, knowing he's a terrible person. When you look at all the BS that's happened in the state of Kentucky, when you look at all the BS that he has been the face of, especially when he was still majority leader in the Senate and everything else like that, you had opportunity to get him out of there. And the best part was when they had that debate and Amy McGrath, who was running against him, laid it out. I mean, she went policy by policy with all the things he has done and endorsed that was to the detriment of not only people in the United States, but people specifically in his state of Kentucky, and how people had died under his watch, how people had lost healthcare benefits, how this happened with taxes, how this happened with the schools, all kind of social programs cut, food program, everything you can think of, mental health support cut, all of that. And then what did he do? He gonna laugh. Laughed in the lady face about all the stuff that he just did wrong. And these idiots still voted for him. He still got like almost 60% of the vote in Kentucky. So now y'all want to all of a sudden boo. You're mad because he ain't radical enough, because he ain't got behind Trump enough for y'all. Now y'all want him to retire. Like, nah, he's still stuck there for like another, 3 more years, because y'all put him in there. The same thing with Lindsey Graham when he got booed and y'all booed him. You had an opportunity to get him out of there. Spears was running. Y'all didn't want to get Lindsey out of there because you didn't want the black guy in office. So now y'all are mad. You're just stupid. Like, you keep voting because you keep voting out of spite. Like, understand, you can vote out of spite all you want, but that stuff still comes to your front doorstep. And then you get mad because you're not getting the results you want, but you voted for nothing but shenanigans. You vote for people who don't even have policy. Their policy is hatred. We don't like black folks. We don't like Mexicans. We don't like LGBTQ, whatever. We don't like nobody. We don't like Muslim. We don't like anybody. We like straight white men, and that's it. And then y'all go and vote for it every single time. And they pretend to be Christians and evangelicals and all that other stuff. And then all of the policy they put in is some nonsense. They be gutting and cutting school, cutting everything. Y'all run right behind them. And it was crazy because it made me think back to 2017 when they were trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And then all them folks who were, at the rally celebrating, yeah, we're getting rid of it. Yeah, it's got to go. No more Obamacare. And then when it really came to the front doorstep and it was going to the vote and they had them town halls and them white folks were freaking out because they were about to lose their health care. That white woman was in tears. My husband, his premium is only $23. Can you beat that? And I'm like, but you voted for the bullshit. Now you want to sit here and get mad because you about to lose it. Y'all see, you vote out of spite and hatred. Now the stuff coming to your front doorstep because y'all think that you can vote for this nonsense and it doesn't affect y'all. Then it gets to your front doorstep and now you want sympathy. Like, that's how y'all keep moving. So get out of here. Stupid. Even with that tax code, I'm telling y'all, we're still paying on that right now. There's a reason why we've been getting our butts kicked with taxes. Because like I said, that tax code from 2017 when they changed it up until this year, tax is going to keep going up and keep going up. So just understand, that's the nonsense we're stuck in. That's why I'm like, Biden, any moment now, when you want to go back and change it back, you can. Like, you already up for re-election, apparently. The student loan stuff ain't going too well because Republicans are gutting everything you're doing. At least you better at least be making an effort to try to fix all the other stuff so people can at least see that you tried, or at least you're active on it. Y'all sitting here posing and taking pictures all the time. That ain't going to go too well in 2024. So, hell, y'all should have been made an effort to go and put the tax code back the way it should have been, because the working class and middle class been struggling. But anyway, and it was crazy, too, because, like, when they were going to gut the Affordable Care Act and they were doing the tax code, that's when all them crooked politicians, they all skipped their town halls. Ain't nobody going to the town hall. I said, they play in y'all faces, and y'all keep supporting them just because, again, you love the fact that they're going to give it to the other guy. They're going to own the libs and ensure that black people stay on their side of town and everything else. I ain't playing with a full deck. Speaking of, I totally forgot they had the whole Trump indictment the other day. It was so crazy. The one thing about living in D.C. is there's always something going on. And so I just left the gym, and then I went to Z Burger. There's like this burger spot that's right by the courthouse. I didn't even think about it. I'm over here leaving Z Burger full, having my little music on, and I walk. I'm like, what's going on over here? It's like a whole crowd. I'm like, oh crap, this is that Trump stuff. So I was trying to go the other way. I don't like being in large crowds, especially with like this kind of stuff. because people are crazy. I'm like, any minute now, there's going to be some deranged Trumper coming in there ready to shoot everybody. So I was trying to get up out of there. And it took me forever to get to my cross street so I could get home because they had everything blocked off. And there was all these news cameras everywhere. So some of y'all might have saw me on TV trying to get out of the way. But very interesting. But Trump ain't smart either. I've been paying attention to what's been happening, especially with him and this current judge. You would think that when you have all this litigation that's coming, you would think that you kind of lay low and not talk trash about the judge and everything. Like, come on, use some common sense. But again, this is somebody who feels invincible and the world revolves around him and his opinion and what he thinks and his followers. So he's going to be stupid like that. I was like, what kind of nonsense? Like, man, because that judge ain't playing with him. Like, and even with him making that post about, if they come after me, I will come after them. I'm like, you just doing all the wrong stuff over there. See how that goes. Just not smart. And it's funny because his attorney team was like, oh, well, we want to move the trial to West Virginia because DC's not diverse enough. I said, so y'all can go to West Virginia? Like, last time I checked, West Virginia was 92% white. Like, I don't think that West Virginia is too diverse over there. And my thing is, y'all didn't do no January 6th in no West Virginia. So no, we're going to have this trial right up in here in DC because y'all went over here and tore up all that stuff. And then all them people had to go and clean up after y'all. Like, if you would have saw what that Capitol looked like. I mean, there was feces on the wall, people that pissed and stuff, snot, throw up. I'm like, y'all are some nasty mother. And it pissed me off because you know who had to go and clean that stuff up, right? There's a bunch of black folks and Mexicans and everybody else who had to go and clean it up. Like, for some reason, people have this assumption that DC is not a city where people live. They look at DC as politician town, and as soon as you get off the bus and come into DC, you're gonna see like Pelosi walking around, and you're gonna see, I don't know, Jan Brewer doing a cartwheel and a backflip somewhere, and then it's gonna be Marjorie Taylor Greene to the left, and then Lindsey Graham gonna be coming down a pole. Like, no, that's regular everyday people that have whole lives, and y'all keep bringing that nonsense to the city all the time. Every time y'all feel some kind of way about something, just stupid. All right, let me go to these comments. All right, I'm doing good getting through these topics tonight. All right. Queen, you're still laughing about the lady said, I'm not leaving because I'm fighting racism. If you would have saw my face when I saw that tweet, and I mean, she really thought she was doing something. Like, what are you talking about? I literally just had an entire thread highlighting the systemic racism that exists within, the policy around the conversation around opportunity zones. And then here you go about your feelings. Now you the race warrior. Okay. Oh, don't worry, Sun Queen. I'm getting to that too. Calvin, did you hear about the white man Blum? Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's in the title. So in the Black Venture Capital Group that helps Black women entrepreneurs. Oh yeah, we about to talk about him too. Hold on, give me 1 second. I think this is my mother calling me from Jamaica. Hello? No, this is not. Okay, give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. This is the police. Let's see how this goes. All right, hello? I live in Washington, D.C. So this is can you tell me what happened? No, my name. Oh no, I'm not. Hold on, give me 1 second. Dang, y'all, give me 1 second. Hot mess. I don't know why people always want to put my name in some nonsense. I ain't did nothing. Don't worry. But yeah, thing about working with children. They get in trouble and then they want to put your name in some stuff and think you're supposed to go and save them. Look, I'll deal with them tomorrow. I ain't got time. Anyway, I was reading comments. Let's see. It's so funny. Like, if you don't know, I used to run a community center for 11 years. So sometimes I have children that have made terrible choices in life that are now in their 20s. And when they get caught up in stuff, they want to put my name in it like I'm supposed to save them. I'll still go and deal with that tomorrow, but not right now. All right. Let me see. I don't know what this is about. Okay. Anyway, somebody said, what did Neo do now? Neo just made some really stupid statement that he should have just kept to himself, to be honest. We're going to keep it going because I still want to get through these topics. Obu yourself said, thank you. I've been saying this for a while. Where did all these fans come from? Because I'm trying to figure that out too. Because I haven't looked at the charts. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Mitch McConnell, he deserves all the smoke that he gets. Turtle man. Evil. Like Mitch McConnell, understand that's one of the most evil people that has ever been in power. Evil. Oh, evil. And he's been in power for so long. That's the crazy part. Like, what? All right. All right, we're going to keep it going because I want to get through some additional topics here. Wait, why's my chat? Hurry up, chat. Here we go. All right, let's see. Look, y'all thought it was my mama calling me from Jamaica. It's the police. I was like, what? Wait a minute, police? What y'all calling me for? But yeah. Every now and then I got to go to court for some of these kids. Oh, y'all like mute us. So remember, like, I don't know if y'all remember, every time I try to mute the mic on here, it still picks up everything. One time we did a live, me and my mom had a whole conversation. Like, I had turned the mic off and everything. And when I turned the mic off, the mic automatically just switched to the laptop. And so y'all heard my whole conversation with me and my mama. I was like, Lord, I'm glad we wasn't over here arguing or nothing. Anyway, okay, I want to keep going. Look at y'all looking out for me. I'm good. Listen, I wasn't worried about nothing. I ain't did nothing, so I wasn't concerned. I don't know what y'all calling me for. Soulflow said, "Is it your brother stealing from Walmart again?" No, it's not. That's another story. I'm not gonna be lighting my brother up on this live all night. But yeah, I've told that story a few times. It's on the podcast and it's on one of these lives. I don't remember which one. Okay. Anyway. Congrats to Simone Biles. Look, she's coming back. She just won that gymnastics championship the other day. Folks tried to counter out. Look, these folks are winning. Like, she won her stuff. You seen Sha'Carri Richardson start to win all these races again. I'm happy for her. Good for her, because folks was pissed about her at the Olympics when she got what did they call it? The twisties or whatever that was. All right, I want to switch gears here. I'm going to read this article because I really wanted to get a chance to talk about this, but I was not in town. O'Shea Sibley. Let me go to the article real quick. Yeah, we have about 4 more heavier stories, and then we're going to lighten the mood here. All right, so here we go. Teenager is charged in killing of dancer at Brooklyn gas station. He faces a charge of second-degree murder, which has been charged as a hate crime in the fatal stabbing of O'Shea Sibley, a gay man, last week. A 17-year-old has been charged with the murder. Has been charged with murder in the killing of O'Shea Sibley, who was stabbed to death on July 29th after a dispute over his dancing at a Brooklyn gas station. Mr. Sibley, a gay man who was a professional dancer and choreographer, was returning from New Jersey to his home in Brooklyn with 4 friends that night when the group stopped at a gas station in the Midwood neighborhood. The police said on Saturday, as they filled up their car, they played Beyonce's Renaissance album and began dancing. Officials, at which point a group of men approached and told them to stop. We can see on the video the heated verbal dispute quickly turns physical. Joseph Kinney, an assistant chief at the New York Police Department's Detective Bureau, said at a news conference with Mayor Eric Adams announcing the arrest. The men yelled homophobic slurs and anti-black statements at Mr. Sibley, who was black, and his friends. Mr. Kinney said, all while demanding they stop dancing. Bystanders acted as peacemakers, and the men shouting at Mr. Sibley's group began to disperse. Mr. Kinney said, except the defendant. Video of the encounter, which lasted for 4 minutes, shows a teenager stabbing Mr. Sibley once in the chest, damaging his heart. Mr. Kinney said a witness said the teenager then jumped into a Toyota Highlander that sped off. Mr. Sibley was taken to the medical center where he was pronounced dead that night. The teenager, whom the police did not name, lives in Brooklyn and was identified by the police earlier this week using video by working with other city agencies. Mr. Kinney said the suspect turned himself in and through an arrangement with his lawyer, Mr. Kinney added. He's been charged with second-degree murder, which has been charged as a hate crime with criminal possession of a weapon. At the news conference, Mr. Adams said Mr. Sibley's family has been affected by something that clearly was a hate crime. This is a city where you're free to express yourself. Mr. Adams, and that expression should never be met with any form of violence. The other piece, which I found interesting, because remember when this story first came out, they were trying to say it was, a Muslim group that went and did it, and they were trying to kind of make Muslims the face of this stabbing, when in reality, guess what we find out here? It says here, following Monday morning's court hearing in downtown Brooklyn, the defense attorney, mind you, this kid is Russian. Powell's defense attorney said that Anthony DiLorenzo, contrary to other reports, his client is a good Christian boy, not Muslim. He was born in the United States and his parents are from Russia. Anyway, the point that I want to get at with all of this is, one, all of this is horrible to begin with, right? Like, imagine being that bothered by people existing that people not knowing how to just mind their business and let people exist as they are, right? And so you got that much stress in your heart because you watching other people enjoy themselves that you go and try to shut down what it is that they have going, right? Like, understand, like I said, people are going to exist as they are. They have a right to. And so it is not your prerogative to go and try to regulate how people choose to exist. If it's not your experience, it's not your experience, right? Like, if you don't like gay people, don't be gay. Like, that's really where it is. And so what I found interesting too, it was like, y'all are at war at a gas station. Like, you're not, nothing is making you stay there. You can easily get your gas and go home. And I think the challenge is, for people in that collective, there's already a challenge when it comes to safe spaces where they get to just be themselves and exist, right? Because there's so many people who are so hateful all the time, or there's so many people who will like go out of their way and purposely find and do different things. I think this is why with a lot of times you don't see adults really, be more open with their sexuality until well after high school. Sometimes maybe in college they'll be open about it, but a lot of times people are not comfortable in that space until they're adults because society teaches us to be like very judgmental with people that we may not necessarily see the world the same way as or whatever, everything like that, right? And so understand, a lot of people like in that collective do not have a safe space where they get to exist. And so a lot of times they make that space amongst themselves. So if that space in that moment was amongst themselves at a gas station enjoying the Beyonce concert, because maybe they might have just came from the show, because I think B was at FedEx Field like a week or two ago anyway. I don't know if they had just left the concert and had a good time and wanted to reminisce. That's their prerogative. So I don't get what the point is. And then you at 17, you have it in your heart to go and kill somebody. And then you stabbed them in the heart. Like, you knew what you were doing. It wasn't like you stabbed somebody in the leg. You went straight for the heart. You knew you intentionally were trying to kill them, right? Now, of course, it's going to be second-degree murder because it's not premeditated. Like, they didn't go with the idea of pulling up to the gas station to kill anybody. They have the argument that the scuffle and then boom, somebody gets stabbed. So the highest they can charge is second-degree murder. But I think that's nonsense. Like, get the heck out of here. And again, the part that makes it even sadder, even when you're talking about anti-blackness, this is why a lot of times I get disappointed sometimes, where even in our collective sometimes, I don't think sometimes we give the same support to a lot of black people in the collective that identify as LGBT, because understand, even in that bubble, anti-blackness exists. If you think that gay white men are the most welcoming people on the planet, try again, okay? They got a lot of nonsense going too. So even black people under that umbrella still got to deal with anti-blackness even in that realm. So like, imagine getting hit by two hammers. You got to deal with racism and then people judging you because of your lifestyle. Like, that's a nonsense. So I think it sucks that a 17-year-old has that much hatred in their heart already to go and kill some folks who are just enjoying themselves. Like, that sucks. Like, that's some BS. And it just goes like, it just goes to show, like, we're in a space where like people don't really value lives of anybody anymore. Like, folks are comfortable just being able to take somebody's life overnight. Just it is what it is, right? I get out of here. And of course, they're gonna try and paint this kid to be like a God saint, and he's a wholesome Christian boy, but he got a whole knife, right? Okay. Right, and it was ready to pull it out. This is no judgment for people who carry weapons, because I get it. Depending on where you live, you got to be ready. Like I said, I keep a hammer in the door in the car at all times. I have to start keeping a blade on me too. But absolutely crazy. All right. And like I said, best wishes to the family. I saw they had like a celebration at the gas station and everything. So, that was kind of nice to see people come together for that moment. But it's also, again, it's still sad, right? In the same moment, we've seen two moments where we've come together in one space where you have an individual who was killed and people are trying to celebrate their livelihood, and the idea of just being free to express yourself just through dance. You pissed off because people are dancing, right? And then you've seen the other situation where we saw what happened in Alabama, right? Folks come together again, got to regulate. Anyway, a Oh, this one's going to piss me off. Going right back to the nonsense. Let's talk about this Mississippi nonsense. So this Mississippi 6 here. All right, I'm going to read the article, and then we are going to talk. Violent police misconduct. 6 plead guilty in torture, sexual assault of black men in Mississippi. 6 white former law enforcement officers in Mississippi have pleaded guilty to federal charges in the beating and sexual assault of 2 black men, one of whom was also shot in the mouth. I don't know why these ads be trying to pop up when I'm trying to read. The 5 former Rankin County Sheriff deputies and another officer appeared in federal court Thursday and pleaded guilty to 13 federal felony offenses, including civil rights conspiracy, deprivation of rights under color of law, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and obstruction of justice. The details of the crimes these defendants committed is horrific and a stark example of violent police misconduct, which has no place in our society today. And Kristen Clark, Assistant Attorney General of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, in a news conference Thursday, 2 black men, Michael Corey Jenkins and Eddie Terrell Parker, say the officers burst into the home they were residing in without warning on January 24th, beat them, assaulted them with a sex toy, and shot them repeatedly with tasers over the course of 90 minutes. One deputy then shot Jenkins in the mouth, the men say. Clark described the assault as torture. She said the officers sought to dehumanize their victims and to send a message that these 2 black men were not welcome on their side of the river. Remember these conversations about sundown towns? This is exactly where we're at. The officers are former Rankin County Sheriff's deputies. Brett McAlpin, 52, Christian Deadman, 28. Look, he got dead in his name. He was already violent. Jeffrey Middleton, 46. Hunter Elwood. Hunter. He already had a tag. He was just born to do it. And Daniel Opdyke, 28. And former Richland police officer Joshua Hartfield, 31, according to the indictment in the Southern District of Mississippi. Today's guilty pleas are historic for justice against rogue police torture and police brutality in Rankin County, the state of Mississippi, and all over America. Malik Shabazz, lead attorney for the victims, told USA Today significant time behind bars is ahead for all the defendants. There are officers, Deadman, Edward, and Opdyke, also pleaded guilty to using excessive force in a separate incident last year. In the incident, Deadman beat and tased a white man, he's going against his own now, and fired a gun near his head to coerce a confession, while Elwood and Opdyke failed to intervene. Y'all got a lot going on down here. Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Flinch also announced Thursday that her office filed charges in Rankin County Circuit Court against the 6 officers. The charges included aggravated assault, home invasion. Didn't we already read that? Okay, all the charges we already saw. This brutal attack caused more than physical harm to the 2 individual victims. It severed the vital trust with police and the people, Fitch said in the statement. This is abuse of power and it will not be tolerated. I'm going to stop there because, Lord. But so, again, you still see the same pattern. Now, remember one time I said that sometimes, especially with like a lot of police, especially the ones that really do this whole overtly violent nonsense towards black people, a lot of times where they step into a space and just do things that they know they're going to catch smoke for at some point. But it's always about this space where that element of what I would call ego, where something they literally get off on torturing us. Something about seeing us in pain, just it gives them euphoria and they thrive off of it. And so they'll get to a point of no return and just continue to do things and not care. And they hope that, that blue wall will protect them. Just like what we talked about with everything with the protests in 2020, how you saw police just start beating people down on camera with no shame because they realized there was enough of them, we'll be protected. We're police. We get to just do whatever we want to do. But just look again at what you're seeing. You have these police who, again, are crooked. They're torturing folks because they don't want folks on their side of town. And because stuff like this has gone unchecked for decades, it's the norm. Every time you see a police officer charged, even in this moment, it is still the exception to the rule. It's not even the standard yet. We're starting to see it more often, but understand it's still the exception to the rule. Remember that time years ago, I talked about Florida, and I talked about how between, I want to say 1989 and 2013, there were over 600 police killings of unarmed individuals and only 2 people had been charged in all of that. So understand when I'm talking about people finally just now getting charged, these are the exceptions to the rule because that system is still in play. And so you're just seeing the nonsense that's taking place. And a lot of this, again, is also white rage, right? There's a lot of people who are mad at the world. Their lives have not gone the way that they should have gone, and they need to take it out on somebody. And when they see black people or anybody else having an element of anything, just a piece of something, it pisses them off. To the point where they feel these people, they must be dealt with. They must be criminals. Something must be wrong with them. We need to find something on them. So the idea of being able to just beat somebody, shoot them in the freaking mouth, and think you're going to get away with it. That is not policing. And that's why when I'm like, some of this stuff cannot be reformed. You know what I mean? Because really what's happening is they are emotionally releasing on us and have been doing that. And there's a whole system that allows them to do that with no consequence. And so that's why you see, so there's a lot of people who specifically join the force for this kind of nonsense. So even when I go back to the idea of the Patrick Braxton, the guy in Alabama who would run for mayor and won, and he's still not even able to get into his office because the original officials who would have been from the old cabinet will not leave, and they're doing everything in their power to hold on, because when it came to the elections before, then they didn't even really have elections. People were just appointed through the family. They just kept it in the lineage that way. And then finally, the people in the area, specifically the black voters, 89% of the population, went and voted and put Patrick Braxton in office and went against the status quo of what was the norm. These people cannot handle it. They're pissed. So they've done everything in their power to ensure that this man cannot be mayor. It's the same thing when you're talking about a lot of these police, because they already feel like they've been left out of the world. They've been left out of what you call the American experiment. They still need some element of power. For them, the element of power is whiteness, right? No matter how terrible their lives are, for them, it's at least I'm not black. And so by becoming a police officer, it gives them even more power to do the nonsense they do now. It's like, well, now we feel even more empowered because, we have access and agency to do what it is we want to do. It kind of goes back to when we talked about the Tulsa riots on I don't know if it was this last live or it might have been an actual pre-made video, but when I talked about how when the massacre in Tulsa starts happening, they started deputizing all the white men in the town. Pretty much. And when I say deputizing, that means you pretty much give them the powers to act as police. So pretty much any white man on that side of town when everything was going down was deputized, and they can now move and act as police. So remember how we said in the very beginning of this video that white people collectively move as a unit only when it's time to be racist? This is that prime example. So this is what we're seeing here. And again, this is not the end of anything. The sad part is you'll keep seeing stories like this take place. Let me read some comments, and then I need to talk about freaking Edward Blum and his nonsense, and whatchamacallit, that one stupid guy that's running for president that I don't like as well. I need to talk about him too. All right. Y'all was ear hustling for real. Y'all don't know what I was talking about with that officer. What if it was like a situation like the police just came and raided me while I was on the live? Look, that might actually go viral around here. All right. Jimmy J said, and why do they live so long? They got to be over 100 years old at this point. Because they be living off the evil. The evil, for some reason, be letting people live for a real long time, be here forever. And then all the people that you love be just going too soon. You be pissed off. Let me see. Somebody said Neil did not make a stupid statement. I agree with Neil. Here's the thing. Going back to what I said with Neil, the minute Neil fooled that woman and told her he didn't want kids and had her go and tie her tubes and then he wouldn't have more kids, any element of conversation about being an upstanding anything is out the window. You're full of it at that point. So you don't get to talk about parenting or anything else. Just be quiet at that point. Like, you're done. You're not a part of the conversation anymore. Like, you on some nonsense. All right. Oh, you guys asked about the kid. Listen, the kid is like 22, so it's not even like a kid. He grown. So we'll work through his stuff later. I'll give you an update later down the line. Avocado Queen. Hola, Calvin Michaels. Been MIA because of school or intense courses. Nice to see you though. Every now and then I get the itch to go back, and then I think about the debt. And I'm like, never mind. I'm good. I'm gonna keep my little degree and mind my business. But yeah, more power to anybody who continues to further their education after undergrad. All right. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Tyler Hackner said, just let people live in their joy. That's where I'm at. Let people gonna be who they are. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That's the part I don't get. Everybody want to control everybody. Let folks go and live their lives and be their best selves. All right. I feel like if you had people who were happier in life, we wouldn't have half the problems we have now. Right? Everybody pissed off. Like, man. Anyway. Stellar Avenger said, it's them good old boys raised right. Jason Aldean was talking about. Yeah, but again, and mind you, that song done dropped. I told y'all it was gonna be like a number one hit, but then it didn't drop. I think it went from number 1 to 21 or something. And I guess the racist folks ran out of money. They ain't gonna spend too much on the song to keep it at the top of the charts. Hey, Bibi, they said, you may ask yourself why you haven't heard of this story. All those media fluff stories, while these disgusting wastes of human species exist. And I've said this before. I really do think that, 2014 and 2015 scared a lot of folks in regards to a lot of the uprisings in response to a lot of the police shootings, right? And 2020, you had people in cardiac arrest, terrified of what would happen when they just saw literally the entire world start uprising in response to police brutality. So I personally believe that within our media, there's been an effort to not really tell a lot of these stories anymore because they don't want to keep getting the public reaction and outrage. Because you just got to think about it. You have an entire collective of people who've just been, on the receiving end of nonsense as long as we've been here, right? And so when you keep poking the bear with all these atrocities that keep taking place, people snap, right? And so I think the media is afraid of there being another spring of 2020. So they purposely don't talk about a lot of these stories anymore. Which is why I commend a lot of the people who do like this YouTube work and bring these stories to light. There's a lot of people who have a lot of channels who talk about a lot of stuff that we never will hear about in mainstream media, right? Let's see. Okay, let us get to Edward Blum. If you remember, we just talked about Edward Blum on 2 or 3 lives back, right? Now, mind you, this was the guy. I gave you his whole backstory. Go back and check the live. But long story short, he ran for office back in Houston back in the day. He lost. Black voters didn't vote for him. He felt some kind of way, so he's had a vendetta ever since. And so he has jumped into all of these lawsuits to go and kind of change and fight against different laws. He's fought against affirmative action. One of the reasons why you just saw affirmative action get gutted in college admissions is because of him and his movement. One of the reasons we saw, actually the main reason we saw the Voting Rights Act get struck down is because of Edward. So he's been on a mission. So now here we are. We get to this next story. Conservative activist behind U.S. affirmative action case sues venture capital fund, right? A group founded by the conservative activists instrumental in the U.S. Supreme Court's June decision of rejecting affirmative action in collegiate admissions on Wednesday sued an Atlanta-based venture capital fund that supports Black women who own all small businesses, accusing it of unlawful racial discrimination. The nonprofit American Alliance for Equal Rights, founded by affirmative action foe Edward Blum, said in its lawsuit that the firm, called Fearless Fund, is violating Section 1981 of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, a U.S. law barring racial bias in private contracts by making only Black women eligible in a grant competition. It was filed in federal court in Atlanta. Fearless Fund was launched in 2019 by 3 prominent Black women: actress Keisha Knight Pulliam, that's the girl from Cosby, that's Rudy, entrepreneur Arian Simone, and corporate executive Ayanna Parsons, and counts as investors Bank of America, Costco Wholesale, General Mills, MasterCard, and JP Morgan Chase. Lawsuits brought by another group founded by Blum led to the Supreme Court's June ruling declaring unlawful the race-conscious student admissions policy used by Harvard University and the University of North Carolina. The new lawsuit is Blum's first since that decision. The conservative majority court rejected policies used by many U.S. colleges and universities to use race as one of the multiple factors in admissions in order to boost enrollment of Black, Hispanic, and certain other minority students. Blum's group had argued that such programs discriminated against white and Asian applicants. The lawsuit centers on Fearless Fund's Fearless Strivers Grant Contest, which awards Black women who own small businesses $20,000 in grants. You pissed about somebody getting $20,000, right? Digital tools that help them grow their business and mentorship opportunities provided in conjunction with MasterCard. Blum and the Texas-based American Alliance for Equal Rights have said some of the group's approximately 60 members, white and Asian, have been excluded from the grant program due to their race. Fearless Fund did not immediately respond to the request for comment. In the interview, Blum said the lawsuit was the first of many he hopes to pursue through the American Alliance for Equal Rights to broadly challenge race-based policies used by private corporations. The cases for the Supreme Court against Harvard and UNC were filed by the Blum Founded Students for Fair Admissions. Blum, who was white, said he plans to model the new group's cases after the successful litigation. The common theme of this organization is to challenge in the courts the use of racial classifications and preference in our nation's policy, Blum said. $20,000, I swear. You know, didn't I say this before? Isn't it funny how every time there's some kind of group that has the word liberty or equality or rights or freedom or patriot or something, it's always some racist anti-everybody but white folks kind of group. You know, it's so funny. The reason you have to even create a group that specializes in ensuring that black women or black business owners can get any kind of grant for $20,000, this ain't even big money, it's $20,000, is because we've watched a system in place where black people have been denied every business opportunity known to man when it came to entrepreneurship, which is one of the reasons why I have always said on this channel, a lot of times black businesses really struggle going to transition from mom and pop to industry or corporation because they never get that seed money from the bigger banks because the banks are always like, oh, you know, not a viable enough investment, so we're not going to, you know, grant you or approve that loan for this business. They do that all the time. And so finally, you get a company that has an effort to say, hey, we're going to try and create an opportunity for people to be able to thrive and let their businesses grow. And then here comes Edward Blum again. Anytime they see black people enjoying themselves, he got a problem with it. And it's funny because now one of the elements that makes it so interesting with racism is that a lot of times the remedies that fight against racism can also be used as a weapon to try to somehow perpetuate the idea that the remedy is racist. That's what they've done with affirmative action. That's what they did with the Voting Rights Act. That's what they're doing with this right here. So again, my thing is Edward Blum and the idea of purposely going and applying for these grants, knowing you're not eligible. And mind you, there are grants for other groups of people as well. But for some reason, like I said, when it comes to black folks, everybody got a problem with us having a piece of anything. And so at this point, I think more people need to go to this freaking dock pier in Alabama. I think more people need to go to that little dock. He needs to go to the dock and pay a visit and park his boat in the same spot. I think he need to go to the boat because I'm over it. We need to start sending more people to the boat. Just all y'all get to the boat, go to the dock, go to Alabama, please. Line up and get over there because some people just need to catch some hands. Like, if I'm not gonna lie, I think he's worth the charge. He's worth the charge. If I catch him on the street, I'm sorry. He might be. We might have to start a Calvin Bell fund because, my God, how hateful can you be, right? In a space where, you know, black men make 88 cents on the white man's dollar and black women make 69 cents on the white man's dollar, you got a problem with black women trying to at least have a fair shot in a space that's already pretty much excluding of them. Black women are barely even in any kind of conversation of venture capitalism at all. And then here you go, having an attitude with it. And then trying to somehow paint, oh, it's against Asians and white people. It's not even about y'all. Again, the idea of centering yourselves in somebody else's experience. We wouldn't have to have these kind of grants had we not had to deal with all the nonsense that happened at the turn of the 20th century in regards to policy that was put out there, into business practices, how black people were left out of labor unions, how black people were left out of a lot of the banking opportunities, how the reason you don't see a lot of black major corporations or industries because they never got the opportunity for seed money. When the seed money was being put out, we were enslaved. When the seed money was being put out, we were sharecroppers. When the seed money was being put out, we weren't even allowed to go to certain banks. When the seed money was being put out, you know, our neighborhoods were being bulldozed over in the conversation of eminent domain, right? And so cut the crap. Like, that is just one terrible person. Like, somebody send him to the boat. Somebody send him over there to that dock. And he need to pay a visit. Then we get to this other stupid person who has, you know, for some reason, white supremacy is so strong that even people who are not white will latch onto it for a come up. And we see it a lot of times with people running for office. So we've seen it with Tim Scott. We see it with Nikki Haley, who doesn't even want to use her real name. And we also see it with this Vivek, what's his name? Ramaswamy guy. Now, he's been getting on my nerves all year, but Lord, God, just a terrible person. Just imagine, you know, erasing your entire identity for the idea of a come up. And the lesson to be learned is no matter how much you play into the game of white supremacy and anti-blackness and try to be a mouthpiece for white people and their racist ideologies, they're never going to accept you as one of them. You will never be in their space. They will let you do the work for them. And then when it's time to collect the reward, they come and take it. They put not a glass ceiling, because glass ceilings are breakable. They put a cement ceiling with another steel ceiling right on top of that, so you can never break through. You are limited to where it is you can go. But go ahead and be my guest playing into the stupidity. Anyway, here we go. Vivek Ramaswamy calls Juneteenth useless 2 months after posting a video celebrating it. The GOP presidential candidate also said it was redundant and that it overlapped with other holidays like Martin Luther King Jr. Day and President's Day. Vivek Ramaswamy. We're just gonna call him VJ. I'm not about to get the energy to trying to say this man's name every time. VJ suggested canceling Juneteenth, calling it a useless holiday in a conversation with Iowa voters Saturday. Less than 2 months ago, however, he posted a video on social media celebrating the day, breaking down his plan Saturday to institute a national voting holiday. RJ, I'm sorry, what did I say he was gonna be called? Oh, VJ. We're gonna stick with VJ. My bad. I got a cousin named RJ. VJ, a GOP presidential candidate, proposed making space for the new holiday by canceling an old one. And of course, they canceled it. The niggas, we're gonna cancel our day, right? Cancel Juneteenth or one of the other useless ones we made up. RJ or VJ said, told an applauding crowd gathered at a wedding company here. Asked by NBC News to clarify whether he thought Juneteenth was a useless holiday, he said, I basically do. He said, Juneteenth is a new holiday, so we'll still have a chance to define what it means to us. It needed to be about grievance and self-flogging. Let it be a celebration of the American dream itself. We do not look back and flog ourselves, VJ said in the video on June 19th, which was posted to his account on X, after that I still call it Twitter, social platform previously known as Twitter. We celebrate how far we've come. And as a first-generation American myself, again, somebody who ain't even been here and does not even understand the plight of Black Americans, but got an opinion about us, you better believe I'm proud of it. Happy Juneteenth, everybody, he said. Okay, so I will say this. When it comes to Juneteenth, I do wish that was something that we kept in-house, because I feel like the minute it did become a national holiday, it became exploited, and everybody has tried to redefine what it means. I've seen people say Juneteenth is about diversity and everything else, and I'm like, see, no. And again, to me, making it a national holiday, even though, hell, I'm happy we got it, but it's symbolism. We needed more things that were more so tangible. The symbolism and the symbolic holiday is great, but no, I think sometimes things are great when they're in-house. And I think Juneteenth was something that we had amongst ourselves, that we educated ourselves about and celebrated amongst our own collective. Now everybody knows what it is, and now we're watching people disrespect it. And now it's a useless holiday, which ain't got nothing, and it's useless because it ain't got nothing to do with him. But I bet you he still took his day off, right? And so for him, what's so interesting, because he's also the same person. He's had some really stupid opinions about the Civil War. Again, he's one of these people who, again, he's going to latch onto every, pro-white talking point he can latch onto because he's not white, right? I think he's, I want to say he's Indian, or I think his family's from India. I can't remember where he's from. But again, the idea of he knows that he will not make it in a society being who he is authentically in regards to his actual heritage and culture. So he has to erase that identity and assimilate into what he believes is the mainstream culture, which will be the culture that keeps white Americans comfortable. So by him becoming a mouthpiece for white supremacy and pretty much shutting down and shutting up about anything that highlights the oppressions of any kind of marginalized group of people, specifically Black folks, he's going to go and fight against, because he thinks that's going to give him leverage with white voters. And it clearly isn't working, because white voters are not leaving Trump. As a matter of fact, they will vote for DeSantis before they vote for RJ. They will vote for DeSantis and Trump before they vote for Tim Scott, and the same thing for Nikki Haley. And so it's interesting watching the three of them, play Cupid Shuffle and musical chairs with the stupid opinions that they want to put out, because they think that somehow they have a viable shot at being the GOP candidate. It's not happening, right? And so, you just keep seeing the same nonsense. And it's just like, dang, why is it that every single time y'all get into these spaces, the first people you go after is Black folks? Every time. We really be minding our business, and we just be on the chopping block. It made me think of, I can't even think of his name, but I did a video and chewed him the F out one time. He was running for Congress in Michigan. He was the guy that was like, and he had immigrated from, I want to say he came from Nigeria. I can't remember, but he was the guy that was like, let's get rid of Martin Luther King Day or Black History Month or something, for whatever reason, and we need to just have like an all-American history month, some nonsense. Again, somebody who does not quite fully understand the plight of Black Americans, but thinks they know what's best for us and think they know what's best for the country at the expense of Black folks. So just erase our entire lineage and our story, so you can get a come up and run for office. Anyway, he lost his election. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even worth doing a video on. But yeah, you just keep seeing the nonsense. I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Also, I see that the guy, I think it's Toy Ty, he was one of the officers that stood by while George Floyd was getting choked to death. He was just sentenced to 5 years for being a bystander and not interfering. And so there's a whole lot going on. Now, that was all of my heavy stories. We can chop it up for a little bit before I call it a night and go to bed. But again, with RJ and the idea of Juneteenth, you weren't even a part of the conversation to begin with. You just got here. Like, how you just get here and you finding black people stuff to get rid of every single time? And which goes back to what I was saying. I really wish Juneteenth would have just stayed something that was ours. Because I even get nervous when they have like Juneteenth celebrations and stuff. I get kind of nervous about going to large gatherings because I'm afraid, and I don't want to put it in the universe, but I'm afraid there's going to be some terrible person that wants to ruin everybody's experience and, you know, put the dots together to understand what I'm saying. And so it's just like, man, just understand that people get mad when I say this, but black folks, we ain't got no allies. We in this by ourselves. There are people who understand our plight, understand our struggle. There are some who will fight with us, but at the end of the day, collectively, we have no allies. We got a few individuals who have seen light and they're going to do what they can do. And sometimes what they can do is limited because sometimes that system still even plays a role into how they matriculate through the world. You know what I mean? Like, we were minding our business, having a good time. And they're like, oh, we gave y'all Juneteenth. And I'm like, yay. I mean, I'm happy to have a day off, but, you know, there were, you know, on the list of things that black people have been asking for, I think a Juneteenth federal holiday might have been like number 426. They jumped it straight to the top of the line. But okay, man. All right, I'm going to read some comments. We're going to chop it up, and then we're going to go to bed. All right. By the way, we got lucky. I didn't know if I was going to get to do this live because the weather was real terrible. We was on like tornado warning earlier. I was like, uh-oh. Let's see if I even have the internet working by the time I get on here. All right. Janine Grant said, "Ooh, this story is so horrible." That's about O'Shea Sibley. Like, I just think that's terrible that you killed that kid for nothing. He was dancing. Like, dancing to me, and that's somebody who has been a choreographer in a past life. Like, dancing is an expression that just, it's something you feel really good doing. So to go and take somebody's joy, like, that's some BS, right? All right. I'm glad somebody agrees. Like I said, they are emotionally releasing on us. That's in regard to those police. That's exactly what they're doing. Every single time they got frustrations, we got to be the brunt of their aggression. Every single time. Oh shoot, Kayla, I'm so glad you reminded me. Book club update. I was supposed to post my choices, so I'm going to do that for you guys tomorrow. So our next book club session is on August 28th, though I believe it's so. Let me make sure I have the date right. Yep. The next book club date is going to be, yes, Monday, August 28th. I will announce the choices for the book tomorrow in a poll, and then after maybe Saturday, I'll make the selection and announce what our book club selection is. For those who don't know, I do have a book club. We normally meet on Zoom, and it's pretty lit. We have a great time. The last book we just did the Phyllis Hyman book. Before that, I think we did The Color of Law. We've done What the Fireflies Knew. We've done a few different books, so we kind of jump into a bunch of different ones. So yeah, the next book club session is August 28th. You don't even have to do nothing. I will post the Zoom link on the community page. All you do is click it. If you want to participate, go ahead. And when I announce it, I normally will tell you guys what chapters we're reading. Like, I normally do it by 4 chapters with each session. Unless it's one of those books where the chapters are only like 10 pages, then we might do like 6. But, great discussions. It's a good time. All right. By the way, I have not forgotten about my So What Happened episode. I just had to pause it because I had too much other things going on. And I have reshot that So What Happened at least 4 times. I just need it to be right because it's such a complicated story. I need it to flow. Like, one of the things, I know I make very long videos, but I also try to make an effort to make sure that even though the content is very, very detailed, that it's still engaging and interesting. So I just needed the story to match what I had envisioned or in my mind. So when I get it right, it'll be out. But don't worry, I have not forgotten you guys because y'all have been asking. So thank you for your patience. But there are 5 other episodes that are really great. And that Usher one could use some extra views because them Usher ones, them views on the Usher one are a little low. Let me see. B said, "What now?" Yep. Make it your business to mind your business and leave other people's business alone. To each his own is a song for a reason. Like, I'm telling you, life will just be so easy when people just leave other folks alone. Just let people live, especially if they ain't bothering nobody. It's different if you go and you got a machete, you chopping people's heads off. Okay, yeah, we got to step in. But, like, folks just be existing. And folks got a problem with it. Somebody said Dr. Richie brings good stories to light on his YouTube channel. All right, so y'all check out Dr. Richie. I think they're talking about people who talk about a lot of stories that we don't always get to see in mainstream media. Somebody said, have you ever considered chopping up your lives in segments after you stream? Yeah, I mean, if you go to any replay, I have timestamps on all the live. Well, at least maybe all the lives from maybe 2022 onwards. Normally, after I finish the live, because I know these go on all night, once it re-uploads and I need the live to actually pop up on my stuff too, then I put the timestamp. So if you look at like the last few lives, you can go to the description and it has a timestamp of every story and what I'm talking about. It says when there's a chat interaction, when we jump to another subject. I try to break it up because I get it. It's a 2-3 hour live sometimes. Not everybody's trying to sit through all that. Some people just want to see one specific story. They may not want to hear my story about how a piece of glass went through my leg, you know? So I get it. Pretty Pedal said, Calvin, it's clear you're a happy person. LOL. Talking about these life events is stressful. It is. I be trying to like keep the energy up. Like, man, like people be thinking I'm like enraged and be ready to fight everybody all day. Like I am a happy, go lucky, be laughing all day kind of person. Like whoever lives on the other side of this wall, I know they probably hate my guts because especially on the nights when I don't have to go in because I get to work from home some days out of the week. Them nights between about 10:30 p.m. to like 1 a.m., all they can probably hear is me in it just because I just be like scrolling all night, be dying about everything, be cracking up, right? And so I'm like, yeah, I love to laugh, man. I like making other people laugh too. So, man. Oh, Miss Nuru, I did see that. I should talk about that separately. Did you notice all the black women in high places that were fired as soon as they changed it? Between that and also like, have you noticed like even with all of the movements pushing against like DEIA, again, diversity, equity, accessibility, inclusion, you've seen like them trying to cut all that. You've seen like all of these corporations cut those divisions like clockwork. And I said, see how everything moves? Even when they did the whole affirmative action thing, I said, watch how fast these universities start moving and falling in line with that. Crazy. Deneen Grant said other races have specific grants and no one sues, which is, and the part that even gets me with that too, even as people immigrate to the United States, there's all kind of grants, even line items specifically for folks who come from certain countries to get seed money to start businesses and everything. And now here y'all go pissed off because listen, I'm not trying to sound like I'm rich or nothing, but $20,000 is not a lot of money for a business. It's really not. It's enough just to do a little something here, right? It's some seed money. It's gonna help to open some doors. But like the fact that people are that pissed about that little bit of money, like I said, when we get a piece of something, people got attitude. It's the same thing like we talked about with the black farmers. When the Biden administration put out that big old settlement, then they're like, okay, we're gonna give like $4.5 billion to disenfranchised farmers. It was not line item where it said black farmers, but it said disenfranchised farmers, specifically meaning farmers who had been left out of everything. We're not gonna revisit this conversation because I've done it a million times, but just know black farmers have been treated like ish forever, right? And they have never been included in a lot of things. A lot of black farms did not get to qualify as USDA farms because of the conversation around heirs land. And so because of that, they didn't get a lot of the benefits and so on and so forth. There's corporations that only work with USDA farms. And so black farmers have been losing billions over the past few years. So Biden administration is like, we want to remedy you guys. Here's some money, right? And then what happens? White farmers who already got a bailout from the Trump administration once we started the tariff wars with China, they're like, what about us? And I'm like, y'all already got some money. We want some more. So now they sued. So now the settlements have been on pause. Now the black farmers are suing the Biden administration like, y'all supposed to give us this money 2 years ago. What y'all doing? And so, again, people can't stand to see you have nothing. Somebody said, Katie did too, say, can we cancel the 4th of July then? I don't know to be honest, black people don't really celebrate the 4th of July. We take the day off and have a cookout, but when we have our 4th of July cookouts, we're not thinking about America and freedom. We're thinking about, at least I got the day off before I go back to the BS. 4th of July for us is you get the family and the cousins out. We're going to put some ribs on the grill and, have us a good time and play some spades and dice and dominoes. It has nothing to do with America. Right? We are not. Well, let me not say we. Some of y'all might be a little bit more patriotic than others, but most of us, it don't mean the same thing for us. So I don't really think black people technically really celebrate the 4th of July. It's a day off for us, right? And a well-deserved day off. Yeah, Vivek is not going to win at all. So I don't know why he's breaking his neck to do all this anti-black stuff and pro-white stuff. Like, again, they move in code, so you can sit here and be a mouthpiece for it, but you're not going to get, they will never accept you as one of them. And the minute you step outside of that box, oh, you're in trouble. Think about what's happening with these black conservatives who did not like what was being said about slavery in regards to them saying slavery was beneficial. Look how quick they were to remind Tim Scott and that one Brandon dude, I don't know his name, but he's been acting real foolish the last few weeks too. How quick they were to remind all these black conservatives who had spoke out about what was being said about slavery, how quick everybody put them in their place. They got reminded that they were black real quick. Like, just understand. Sit here and play the game all you want, but you don't get to make the rules in the game. They've already made the rules in that game. So if you're going to jump into the game, you got to play by their rules. And when you step out, they're going to remind you who you are real quick, every single time. Somebody said Zoom and transferable license and all other rights required to use your audio, face, etc. for AI unconditionally and irrevocably forever. Man, listen, to be honest, all our stuff is so far out there. It's already at the point of no return with that. We done gave all that away when we signed up for Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and everything else. Like, they got all our stuff. But yeah, so be it. Somebody said, Calvin, be careful. I hear some severe storms are coming your way. Actually, they just all passed. Like, I think the last tornado warning ended at like 9 o'clock. So I think we're good. Oddly enough, do you guys know history fact real quick? During the War of 1812, the reason the British ended up losing in D.C., because remember, they came to D.C. and they burned down like the Capitol and the White House and all that stuff. The reason they ended up losing was because the tornado happened to hit D.C. while they were actually in battle. And that pretty much just took out that entire fleet. So yeah, there was like a battle that the British ended up losing, all specifically because of tornado in D.C. Now, God forbid, we don't need one of those to come anytime soon, but yes, and that's history for you. All right. Yeah, I felt like the severe weather was like the entire, I want to say from like Pennsylvania down to the Carolinas, I think, maybe even Georgia. Anyway, y'all keep asking about the Renaissance tour. Yeah, I didn't get to go to the Beyonce show. I was planning to go, but I was supposed to be in New York this past weekend, but I didn't go. So I never ended up getting tickets. And then by the time I realized I wasn't going to be in New York, I was like, okay, well, let me go check out and see how much the B tickets are. Them tickets, man, because listen, I still would like a good seat, but like even the back row at the stadium was like $300-400 to be at the very back row at the top of the stadium. You know, you bumping your heads on the cloud. And I was like, I'm not paying that much. I'm sorry. I rock would be, but you know, the good seats that I would have liked to sit in were all upwards of like $1,500, $2,000. Like, yeah, I didn't even pay that much for my fave. So I'm certainly not paying that much to, absolutely not. And like I said, I just got a bunch of projects that I'm self-funding. So it's like I need to really be frugal with my money. Like, y'all know I love a good concert. I stay going to see everybody, but I can't putting that much into a show at that $1,500, $1,800. That's a good 8 concerts, depending on who it is. But who knows? Maybe I'll catch her. I mean, I've seen her before. It was a great show. I haven't seen her in a good minute, but I did go to the Miss Carter tour. I had a great seat. I was on the floor. She flew over my head. It was a great time. So yeah, I'll catch you next time. But you know, I know for DC, the Sunday show got like rained out, but I always think it's really dope when artists still perform in the rain. I feel like those are always like the big epic moments where you see like the big concert or the rock concert and it's just downpouring and they're just out there performing and giving it. Like B had a show, like that was B's show yesterday from what I was seeing on the clips. And like every great artist has had a show in the rain. Michael Jackson then had one. Diana had the Central Park show. Even Janet on the Unbreakable tour, that Atlanta show, it got rained out, and she was out there just going Rhythm Nation in it, and the dancers was slipping and sliding on the stage. Like a rain performance is lit as long as everybody's safe and there's no lightning. But yeah, I love a good concert in the rain. I just don't want to be in it, but I think it's dope when artists still push. And what's crazy, I think Pink is here tonight at the baseball stadium. And, you know, Pink, like, she be flying. And so I don't know. I hope they got everything dried off because I don't need her to have another accident. Remember that one time she was on that one tour and they didn't have the harness secured and she almost broke a rib. But I give it to the entertainers that really give their all. So, yeah, I did not get to be a part of the Renaissance. That's okay. I'll catch the next one. People keep thinking she's retiring. She's still got it in her. She may slow down, but I'm really convinced that for a lot of folks, once they have it, it never goes anywhere. And even when they want to stop, they get the itch. That's why you saw Tina Turner come back at 69 and go on the tour, right? You know, that's why you're seeing like even like Gladys and Dion are like close to 80 and they're still touring and everything. They don't need the money. They're good. But I think once you have it, it just never goes away. You're going to always want to still do it. You may want to take breaks. You may want to slow down, but it's always going to be there. Have I covered Lake Lanier? Not really. I mean, I know there's some really good videos talking about the history of Lake Lanier and what happened in regards to why people believe it's kind of haunted. But at this point, anybody that goes to Lake Lanier and gets in the water, I don't know what to tell you. Because at this point, we've seen person after person after person after person after person not make it out. So if you're still going to Lake Lanier, good luck, right? Because, yeah. Even with my mom one time, when she was first started dating her fiance, and she was like, yeah, he's about to take me to the lake. I was like, it better not be Lanier. you better make sure everything right. I was like, let me filter him out real quick. Let me give me some background information on this guy real quick. What y'all gonna be doing at the lake? Because you don't fish. So, and you don't skip rocks either. So what's going on at the lake? But it wasn't Lake Lanier, it was somewhere else. All right. Somebody said stop using Zoom. I guess Microsoft Teams. The thing is, everybody doesn't use Teams. The only reason I do Zoom is because it's easier for people to just click on. Only other thing I could think of is maybe like StreamYard or something. But Zoom is just it's accessible for a lot of folks, especially because I got people that are from all over the world using it. And depending on what the rules in the countries and stuff are, Zoom is one of the ones that's just easier to use. Yeah, these things they got all our information. Oh yeah, Lizzo. Good luck. Yeah, but I will say, Lizzo. Where do I want to go with this one? If everything that is being accused and reported is true, that sucks for her. That's a career killer. She will be done. But I will say what's jacked up. And this is almost unrelated to all that. A lot of people use Lizzo's situation as an opportunity to just start going in on fat people, which I thought was effed up. Like a lot of people just couldn't wait. They had to wait to find a reason to get her. So once that came out, it was every fat joke you could think of. I was like, y'all are some effed up people. But because I was reading the allegations, I'm like, I don't know. And then I feel like the people that are making the allegations, I think the smartest thing you can do when you make any kind of allegation against celebrities is not go on TMZ and go to all of these blogs and stuff, because it starts to take away your credibility. People start to question things, right? And then like a lot of people started coming out of the woodworks with statements and stuff, and some folks were like I think, God, I wish I could find that quote because I don't want to misspeak, but I saw one interview where one of the people were talking about all the things that Lizzo had them do or whatever they did, and they were like, well, can you explain what it is? And they're like, well, they didn't necessarily do it, but that you could feel what was being done. They were saying like because they had gained weight, they were trying to push them out. I'm like, get off of the shows. Like, you listen, once you make them accusations and everything, you let the lawyers handle that. Don't start going and doing press runs and everything, because now people start to question your intentions and everything. And just like if I were ever in a situation with any kind of celebrity where I had to sue somebody, y'all will not see me until I'm leaving out of the courtroom with my check. So that's all I'm saying. But I would hope none of that is true. But if that's true, that's going to be a career killer, right? And that's interesting. Sometimes these celebrities, they have an image, and then stuff hits the fan, and everybody comes out the woodworks and stuff. Like they said, she's not great to work with. I'm like, damn, that sucks. So, and it sucks because y'all know I didn't vouch for Lizzo a few times on here, so it kind of sucks to see what's happening. We will see how this unfolds. But that's a lot. And I think she's still on tour. So imagine having to go on tour and you got accusations about you like that. I think she has a show as a part of some festival in Philly. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know. There's a lot. Oh, look at you, Toya. You must work at a good spot. She said, I'm going to see Beyonce in Atlanta, and I got sweet tickets for free through my company. See, my company ain't gave us nothing. We ain't no fun. We don't get to go to nothing. And they got all kind of money in my company, too. We don't get to do these. What do they do? Like, freaking, we just had somebody new come in, and they did like a party, but the party was just some cupcakes. I'm like, I feel like we're in the third grade class in here. Like, what? Man. I'm not even about to repeat that comment. But see, that's what I'm talking about. Folks got jokes, and I'm not repeating that the order of the bees. Somebody said, damn, where does I want to know where she work at? Because let me go get a job there. Man. By the way, I remember, okay, for those who listen to the podcast, remember how I said there's the guy John. Oh, wait, I can't even tell it yet because I haven't released that episode yet. There's another podcast episode that's about to come out that's like part 3 of the second year. But if you've been paying attention to the earlier years, I told you there's one guy, John, who's just sorry. Like he can't do anything right. He just get on my nerves, right? He's like 50-year-old white dude. Had everything handed to him in life. But anyway, long story short, one time we were in a meeting. This is like 2016. And this is at my old job. Boss lady was like, all right, we need to do something like as a team. What do you guys all want to go and do? And this is like, I think Beyonce was on like the formation tour. And I was like, oh, maybe we can get like Beyonce tickets. And so he goes, I don't support cop killers. And mind you, he's white dude. Everybody was like, I was like, man. Yeah. Woo. I forgot. They don't deal with her like that. But no, as far as concerts, the next show I'm going to is Tony. I don't know if I have anything else lined up right now. Like I said, I'm trying to, because I need to finish funding a few projects. I had to cut back on the spending because I was seeing everybody. I didn't see a lot of people in the last few months because I went to that R&B experience show. That was 112, Silk, H-Town, Tamar, Monica, Escape, Tevin Campbell. I went to the Lettucey, Music Soul Child, and Kim show. I went to the Yolanda Adams, John P. Key and Donnie McClurkin show. Went to, I'm skipping something. The Jill Scott show, Janet Jackson, Anita Baker. I'm skipping some people. After 7. Who else? There's a few more people I'm skipping. I haven't been to a lot of folks this year, so I was like, let me cut back. I've been spending a lot of money. So, and these concerts have got really expensive. I need us to bring back the days of like $30 tickets. And that's what was funny. So then the Beyonce show for Sunday, because I was almost going to go. I was like, actually, I might still go, right? And because, right before the show starts, they always release last-minute tickets. So they released a whole bunch of last-minute tickets right by the stage for like $75. I was like, oh, let me go. And like, so I was texting somebody. I was getting ready to say, hey, as I'm mid-text, I was getting ready to tell them, hey, they got some tickets for like $75. You want to do like a last-minute thing and go? Because it was about 7 o'clock. And I never finished the text message because I went back to go get the screenshot of the price. By the time I went to get the screenshot, the scalpers had already bought all the tickets. Them tickets went from $75 to like $300-$400. I was like, never mind, don't worry about it. Never mind. Poison Ivy, y'all, they literally tracking us through phones. Zoom is fine. That's my point. Like, they got us on everything we use, they got us on. And my thing is, at this point, if you ain't got nothing to hide, you ain't got nothing to worry about. As long as they ain't stealing your bank information, you might be all right. Like, that's why, like, when everybody started taking all them AI pictures and doing the portraits, I was like, oh, they using all of y'all images for everything. Y'all paying that $8 to get what was it, Remedy or whatever, to get them AI pictures. I was like, yo, they using all of everybody's faces. All y'all faces about to be in somebody's movie. Anyway. Somebody said they were really going hard on her weight anyway, but they really went hard after this. Yeah, some folks just were looking for a reason, right? Thoughts about Sexy Red appearing at that high school? Yeah, not a good idea. I get it. That's what the kids listen to, but whatever. I'm just in this space. There's a lot of entertainers I'm not crazy over because I think there's a lot of people in music that don't really care about music. It's more so the idea of fame. And I've seen a lot of people who don't even have musicality anymore. That part is pissing me off. I'm not knocking anybody who's famous right now, but I'm just saying, like, I see a lot of stuff I'm not too excited over. And this is not towards her, but just in general, just the idea of how a lot of people have been moving lately with music. So, you know, I'm trying to think of it like if I was 15 or 16, because most likely in high school we would have been partying to the same song anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah, whatever. Just nah, I guess. Now I will say that's the part that was funny about going to that restaurant after the aquarium, because all of them was in there twerking and jerking and doing everything else, and like poor little goddaughter's like 5. We just trying to eat our little waffles and everything. Her mom was like putting a hand over her eyes because everybody just get. I was like, God, there is a place. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of bored with. I think we're getting too much of the same thing. I love that there's a lot of new faces, but a lot of folks are doing the same thing. Like mix it up a tad bit. It's almost like there's only allowed to be one trend at a time. And right now we see what the trend is, but I'm like, the stuff don't even be appealing to the ear. Like I like musicality, I like melody. I want to sing along. You know what I mean? They don't even be using instruments on some of these songs. No, they weren't twerking at the aquarium. Maybe we went to a restaurant that was nearby, like a few blocks down the road after the aquarium. Food was wonderful, everything. But man, that it was like the club. And it's not against the restaurant. I get it. Like it was just I probably should have read better into the venue because clearly that wasn't for little kids. But it's funny. Every spot we got now, it's like they got the loud DJ. They're gonna bring out the hookah and bring out the henny wings. Somebody said, can they bring back the bridges? Hell, at this point, can you even bring back 3-minute songs? The songs are all like 1 minute and 50 seconds now. Like, what is that about? I really like that song. I thought that was a very different approach. Tina E said, have you heard Halle Bailey's song Angel? I appreciate that she brought something different and they really capitalized on what she can do with her voice. It'll be interesting to see people try to sing that at a talent show. So yeah, good for her. All right, we're about to wrap up. Ms. Nuru said Patti LaBelle is wrong for that tribute. They said Patty up with that one. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, like clearly, I love Patty, but yeah, I was like, y'all gonna have to give her something else. I wish she wouldn't have sang "Simply the Best." Honestly, Patty could have sang any song she wanted to sing, and all they had to do was put a Tina montage or a montage in the background with some video and stuff. Patty could have sang whatever Patty song she wanted to do and Pattified. It would have been great. I think trying to get her to go and memorize a song last minute because remember Tina had just died, and then here comes the awards. I thought that was a setup kind of a little bit. And she couldn't see the lyrics, of course, because people were in front of the teleprompter based on how the seating arrangements were. I'm like, y'all keep playing in Patty's face. But, yeah. Plus, that has to be tough to keep singing tributes for your peers that are passing on. All right, she said, it's my dad's company. This is Toya. This is the one whose company bought the sweet tickets for the B show. They own a suite in the stadium, so they get tickets to games and concerts. My parents have seen B twice, gave tickets to my sis and I this time. That's pretty dope. Let me see. Oh, yeah, Alicia Keys. I saw her too. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I saw Alicia Keys. That was actually, like I said, that was a really good show. I did not expect it to be like that because I didn't know what I was going to get. I just walked past the arena and I was like, Alicia's here tonight? Oh, all right. And the tickets were at a very, very, very reasonable price. Okay. Went up in there, had a good time. Melody said, anybody go to the Rock the Bells Hip Hop Anniversary Tour? I did not get a chance, but is that the same thing where I saw the clip of Queen Latifah, Moni Love doing Ladies First? I think it was that. It's kind of cool. One of my dancers performed, or she dances with Lil' Kim. She performed at Rock the Bells last year, which is pretty cool. And then she just, she actually was on the, I forgot the girl's name. She was at the BET Awards. Her name was like Lola B or something like that. She was a dancer for her too. I was like, that's pretty dope. Have I seen SZA live? No, because for the longest I wasn't a fan of her live performances. Now they've gotten a lot better. I catch her now, but she already came here. I missed the show. Plus, her tickets was kind of high too. I was like, yeah, y'all charging some real high prices for some of these shows. Like, I think her tickets were higher than the Janet show I went to. I'm like, now listen, now Janet's gonna be spending on her head. Even if she's 57, she's gonna give you a boot in an 8 count somewhere. SZA, I don't know what you're doing for these prices. But yeah, SZA, she's got a lot better as a live performer. I was thinking about the Drake show, but then I didn't like the clips like that, so I changed my mind. So I don't think I'm going to that show. If I come into some money and Usher extends his residency, I will gladly go to Vegas and see that. Because the last time I saw Usher, it was a really, really, really good show. It was the UR experience. It was the tour none of y'all went to, and it was struggling, but that was a damn good show. Excellent show. Said, do you wear earplugs at these shows, concerts? Hurt my ears, and I keep a pair in my purse. I don't wear earplugs. Most shows I go to, my ears are good. The only show I went to, and I think I talked about it, is when I took my godmom to that gospel show. It was like the Yolanda Adams, John P. Key, Don McClurkin show. And where we were sitting, we were right by the speakers, and it was at Constitution Hall. And I feel like they had the sound set up for it to be sorry, they had like set up for it to be like an arena show. And so it was so loud. And you know, gospel is already real live, right? They got the drums and the choir. It was so loud. We had to leave early. We had to leave during John P. Key's set because it was painful. And I was kind of bummed because John P. Key got some of my favorite gospel songs from back in the day, but we couldn't do it. It hurt so bad. So many people were leaving. That's the only show I've been to where the sound was just unbearable. So it kind of depends on whose show it is. Somebody said, Calvin, do you think Michael and Whitney could have brought their kids on stage like Beyonce does with Blue Ivy, and it wouldn't cause safety issues? I mean, well, technically, Whitney used to bring Bobby Christina on stage all the time. Michael, I don't think Michael was ever going to bring his kids out because remember, he didn't want nobody to know what his kids look like. So them kids had masks and stuff on all day. But listen, I know Blue's having a lit summer. Like, imagine the trash she's going to talk when she get back to school. Like, your summer camp was on stage in front of however many thousands of people. Like, Blue been getting it in. I ain't mad at her. That's kind of cool. It'll be interesting. I'm not trying to age myself up, but it'll be interesting like 20 years from now to see what it is that Blue is doing. And then it'll be like, oh, I remember when she was a little girl that used to perform with her mama. And now look at her doing whatever she does. You know what I mean? Kind of cool. Oh, no. Deneen Rand said, definitely protect your ears. You'll develop tinnitus ringing a few years from now, and that never goes away. Really, when I need to protect my ears is when I'm in here recording music, man, because I be having them headphones in here, this music be in here just cranking, jumping in, just cranking. So yeah, that's when I be trying to like protect my ear. I'm trying to monitor how much I have headphones on, especially now. Like the dopest thing about like living in like smack in the middle of the city and also getting the luxury to work, telework 3 days out the week is like you don't do a lot of driving. So my car just be sitting in the garage for days. But I do a lot of walking, right? And I'm always taking like the metro or I'm like walking all the time. Like literally, I was just walking. I think the day I was walking to get like coffee, I ran into somebody that knew me from YouTube, which was kind of cool. But I stay walking with them headphones, and them headphones be cranking. And I'm trying to remind myself to not have them so loud. But man, I'm praying that maybe my generation is just already developed an immunity to having loud sounds in our ears because we've been wearing headphones since the 90s. Like, man. All right, I'm about to go to bed in a minute, y'all. I'm sleepy. Ms. Nuru said, I kind of miss the city a little. I'm accepting the fact that if I want to own, I will probably have to leave the city, which I don't want to do. I like being a city boy. Yeah, so we'll see. Oh, you got something I haven't even seen yet. Thoughts on the 14-year-old being arrested for that crime spree where that worker got killed at Howard U. I remember seeing the worker get killed on Bryant Street. I didn't know it was a 14-year-old that did it. But I've been saying, like, I think for teenagers in D.C., they have nothing to do here. There's nothing for teenagers. There's a handful of community centers, but a lot of them have closed. And a lot of the stuff that's out here is for adults. And even though if it's for adults, it's expensive. And so what you end up seeing, especially in DC, like if you go to Gallery Place, right? Um, when I first moved to DC in 06, Gallery Place was like this big jumping spot with nightlife and things to do and everything. It was a fun place, right? And so over the years, it's kind of slowed down, especially after COVID. And so sometimes if I'm in Gallery Place, you'll see a lot of idle teens who just don't have anything to do. So they might go to the movie theater and just run from screen to screen. And yeah, I think I told y'all the story about me going to watch Creed and then got into some whole brawl in the movie theater. I'm like, y'all, I was just trying to watch my movie. But there's not a lot of stuff for them to do out here. And I think the other thing, and one of these days I'm going to do a video on it. I have a whole list in my phone. I don't know if I have it in here, but I have like a list of just every video I want to do a topic, like every topic I want to do a video on. It's like hundreds that I have not gotten to, but I definitely want to do this video on the correlation of gentrification and how it also does play a role into the increase in crime, because what ends up happening is people pretty much get built on top of, right? These corporations, developers, everybody build on top of other folks and keep building on top of people until they get pushed out. But in that process leading to the push out, there's that element of time where there's divestment of the neighborhood for the people who were originally there. And the cultural establishments start to disappear. This is when you start to see the mom and pop businesses disappear. This is when you start to see the community centers disappear. This is when you start to see maybe the community basketball court be turned into something else that has nothing to do with the community, right? And so you start to see what happens with the schools, and the new people that are moving in aren't putting their kids in the schools, and the schools are losing funding, and they start closing schools, and now kids are getting bused into different schools. Like, there's a lot going on. So I think there's a lot of kids who just need stuff to do. And there's also just some folks that are just stupid and do dumb things. But you got a lot of idle teens around here who have nothing to do. And it's crazy because DC has like, they actually have really good like summer programs for like jobs and stuff. But there's just, and it's not just DC, it's a lot of cities. Like, there's a disconnect with our youth. And I don't think people really understand the plight of being a 14 or 15 or 16-year-old in 2023. It's hard to live in their world because we're looking at their experience through our lens based on the experience that we had. And it makes it very difficult sometimes to connect with them. That's one of the reasons why I really did enjoy working where I worked for all those years, because the teenagers that I worked with, because I knew them since they were, 4 or 5 years old, some of them were toddlers, as they got into the teenage years or as they got older, because I knew their experience from elementary and so on and so forth. And there's a relationship that has been built, and I know the parents, and the parents know me, and they know my birthday, and I know their favorite foods and so on and so forth. You really kind of get a glimpse into their world that they're not going to give their parent, that they're not going to give some random Joe off the street, but you get a glimpse into how they see things, how they operate, how everything aligns in the spectrum of what is their world, right? And I just don't think you have enough people in positions of power that have that kind of patience to meet them there. And so now we're in the space where you have an entire generation that's pretty much just ignored. And so they're lashing out. They're going, making poor choices. And, with all the idle time a lot of them have. And then you also add in social media and everything else. And it's already a chaotic world. Like, everything is just extremities we live on. Every time you turn around, it's something crazy. You got pandemics and then a mass shooting and then whatever else happens. And then gas skyrockets and then the cost of housing gets too high and then food gets too expensive. And then it's so much stuff going on. So it's just a weird time right now. Anyway, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox, but anyway, we're about to wind this on down because it's bedtime. Queen said Lisa Fisher can do a tribute. I don't think Lisa Fisher likes being bothered. I think Lisa Fisher is somebody that loves music so much, she would rather do it from the peaceful place of her backyard and sing with the hummingbirds and be left alone. Like, that's the energy I get from her. Order the B said Usher Tiny Desk was fantastic. I like the Usher one. I'm not gonna lie. Right now, my favorite one so far out of this recent set has been the Charlie Wilson one. That is such a good one. That's such a fun one. I really enjoyed that one. Tanks was good too, and Babyface. I mean, yeah, but I really enjoyed the Charlie Wilson one. Oh, that's cool. It says it's so cute that Blue has her own fan base called the Ivy League. I didn't know that, but that's a clever name. She's someone for the young people to look up to. That's pretty dope. Dang, I'm about to go call my mom and ask her why she couldn't be famous. She should have been bringing me on the stage back in the day. But no. All right. Winding down. Somebody says 4D new. I remember experiencing it in 2012. I don't know, but I the first time I saw a 4D movie, like as far as like 4D is like, you know, you get in the chair and the chair be moving and stuff, and like if I don't know if the movie shows them in the boat and it splashes, water splashes you. If there's a fire, you feel heat. If they get in a fight, the seat punch you in the back. The first time I went to a 4D movie was Black Panther. That crap was lit. So anytime I see any kind of Marvel movie or any kind of action movie, I want to see it in 4D. But the only 4D theater I know around here is the Gallery Place one. Yeah, that crap is a lot of fun. Like even when we saw Wakanda Forever, there's a scene in that movie. It's when Shuri goes to the Waterman's town. I forgot what it was called, but when they're going through the tunnels and everything, our seats were. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying to hold my popcorn. Like, wait a minute, damn. But it was pretty cool. Man. Did I tell? I don't know if I told. I think I told that story. Somebody said, "Wait, Calvin, I don't remember you telling the story about the teens fighting in the movies doing Creed." I think I told it. I don't know. Well, long story short, I'm gonna zip right through it because I'm about to go to bed. Because when I went to go see Creed, I just randomly went and walked in the movie theater, got in there, and yeah, had me a great time. And there wasn't that many people in the theater because it was like a random like midday show. It was like 4:00, right? And so sitting here watching Creed, it's going really good. And again, idle teenagers. Listen, I love kids. I love working with them, but I ain't gonna lie, kids get on my nerves sometimes. And so you have all these idle teenagers that are all hanging out. And mind you, this is like a group of maybe like 30 teenagers. And what was interesting is they weren't all friends. It was like pockets of like 2 friends here, 3 friends here. They got together with this friend and invited this friend. And so now they got this whole collective. You know, they're finding things to do. And so they had been in the theater kind of just, and mind you, at that point, that theater was getting ready to close. So I think they were just going to let that theater just do whatever because they were going to, you know, Regal had filed for bankruptcy and that theater was going to be on the chopping block. But now I guess it's saved. But at the time, I guess they were like, it is what it is. So, you know, the group of 30 had just been going from screen to screen doing whatever. You know, they keep going. They keep switching seats and just doing things that annoy you. You're trying to watch the movie. They're making all this noise. They keep going in and out, in and out. And so they were about 13, 14 years old. And there was a girl there was a boy who had a crush on the girl. And I don't know what happened, but somehow the boy said something to the girl that pissed her off. And so she left. Now, mind you, I ain't paying that much attention to what they're doing. Because listen, after working with kids, I'm good at like zoning them out and enjoying the movie. So some people were getting annoyed because folks were like getting up and leaving and going and telling the movie theater people like, hey, there's a bunch of teens in here that are making noise. Because the kids didn't pay for the movie. They just were going from screen to screen. So they could care less about the movie. I was good. I zoned out. I was locked in, right? Because, you know, at this point, Michael B. Jordan was getting beat up. It was stressing me out. And so anyway, the boy said something to the girl that she didn't like. She left, right? And so all of the teenagers left, or at least half of them, and there was a few that were still in there. The boy was like sitting behind me. And then, I don't know, about 20 minutes later, here come another dude that's coming in. Now, he's an older teenager. He might have even been grown. He might have been about 18, 19, right? And so I'm like, please, God, don't let this be nothing crazy because it's the older guy, but it's like 15 teenagers behind him. I'm like, oh, I know what this means. Oh, Lord. And so he coming up the stairs. Hey, what's this? I hear you said something to my sister. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. I was like, all right, I can't do it no more. Because, I mean, they were getting ready to recommend. Let me go on and get out the way. So I was already going out to just go and get my refund. Like, listen, y'all just give me a refund because these kids in here doing the most. And it was so funny because next to me was like this Ethiopian couple. And so, while I'm walking and telling the people like, hey, y'all got some cuckoo teenagers in there getting ready to wreck on somebody. So y'all might want to go and make sure that that kid is okay. And also, can I get my money back or at least give me a ticket to the next show? While I'm going to talk to the guy, I see the boyfriend. He's running out of there. I'm like, well, what's the problem? What, they in a shooting or something? I don't know. And I'm looking. He done left the girlfriend in the theater. I'm like, wait a minute. And so while I'm looking, and then out of nowhere, all of these teens come running out of just running because it's the boy running from the older guy who's after him. They run down and jump down the escalator because if you've been, it's this movie theater in DC Gallery Place. When you go in, there's the lower level. It kind of looks like a mall, like you just can see upstairs. So like there's a lower level where they used to have a ticket kiosk. and the escalators go upstairs, and then on the upstairs level there used to be like a bowling alley, and then there's like a Clyde's restaurant, and then you go up another flight, and that takes you to the movie theater level. And so I'm, up at the third part, they done went all the way down to that bottom. They got to that bottom floor, and it's everybody just wrecking and going at it and everything. So I looked, I was like, well, actually, never mind, I'm gonna finish watching the movie. So I went on back in, watched the movie. Ethiopian man's girlfriend is still sitting in there, pissed off, because when he came back in there, she switched over to Amharic with the language. She was cussing him out like, you gonna leave me in here and you gonna run. And mind you, he was about 6'2". I'm like, now you taller than everybody in here. How you the first one running out? But I get it. Once you start seeing a crowd of folks cutting up, get on out the way. But yeah, that was that. But yeah, so teenagers, city life, it is what it is. All right. Yeah, Lucky. Listen, that Galilee place is hurting. Lucky Strike is gone. Yes, Bar Louie is gone. They turned Bar Louie into something else. I don't know what it is. It's like a sports betting spot, and they do comedy shows there. They're trying to revitalize it. They serve drinks and stuff, but yeah, all of that. They need a facelift. I was like, man. I felt bad for the kid. And mind you, I don't even know who won. I didn't stay to watch the fight. Like, I didn't look over the balcony to watch the fight because the movie was getting too good. So I went back to finish the movie. But yeah, I was like, Lord. I knew when that brother came in there, the older brother, I was like, damn, here we go. It's about to be one of them days. Man. All right. I'll do like 2 more comments, and I'm going to call it a night. Oh, I need to watch the Juvenile Tiny Desk. Everybody said that was a really good one too. I'm gonna get to that one too. I just like watching the R&B ones because I like to sing along, or I like to listen to what the arrangements are with the background vocalists. But I rock with Juvenile. Like, my favorite song has always been Slow Motion. That was my freaking song when that dropped. Like, I just loved how it was just a smooth groove. Like, love that one. Oh yeah, his name was Namor. Okay, thank you, Pretty Petals. Maverick Cuz said, I just went to a community meeting for the first time. Part of it did include thinking of something for the youth in the master plan. I just think city governments need to have more lined item for the youth to do. Like, I think right now we live in a very adult society, and especially if you're in the city, there's not a lot of green space and stuff sometimes, and places for kids to go. Like, even when, in my building, there's a lady that has like a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and there is a park like right outside my window, but it's more so like a dog park. So it's not like the little kids can play there because they're probably gonna step in dog poop. And mind you, it's a piece of a plot of grass that's not even that big. Like, it's maybe the size of a bedroll, right? And so that's not really a viable place to play, especially when it's like 2 major streets right there. So yeah, it's not a whole lot for some of these kids. And I guess it just happens with being in the city. Like, where I grew up, I didn't grow up in the city. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. So, we could ride our bikes to the pond and go catch bullfrogs and do all kind of stuff like that. And, I had a great childhood as far as like, we rode bikes to people's houses all day, and you stay in somebody's house all day and play Streets of Rage on Sega, or, Twisted Metal on PlayStation. We did that kind of stuff. And I had a music friend, and I used to ride my bike to their house, and we used to make music because they had a motif keyboard, and we used to try to make little demos and stuff. Or if I didn't do that, the playground in the neighborhood was like the spot that everybody went to when we were like teenagers. That was where everybody hung out at. Even if you didn't have nothing to do, you just chop it up at the playground. When I was younger, they built a Walmart, and then Walmart was the place that we played hide and seek, and we used to get kicked out the store all the time because, you'd be hiding in, that big old tall thing where they put all the pillows in, where it's just like a cage and it's just pillows in there. And I was skinny. The way I used to slide in there and get in that pillow thing, just be sitting there almost suffocating with all the plastic hiding. Man, they used to get us. But yeah, so I don't know if kids like get that same experience. And mind you, this is before social media and cell phones, so you had nothing to do but be creative. Or you called your actual friends. This is like when you still memorize everybody's phone number, or you had their numbers written down in a book. So, good times. Good times. All right, last one. Oh, I didn't even know they had a DeBarge one. The El DeBarge Tiny Desk was good. Eldrick can still sing. Oh, Eldebars. I'm thinking the whole group. Okay, I think I saw some of his. I thought you meant the whole group. I was like, they got back together. All right. Yeah. So anyway, guys, this has been really fun. Thank y'all for putting up with me and my nonsense. And hell, we had a whole call from the police while I'm on the live. Imagine that. Anyway, like I said, the podcast episode, I think it doesn't drop this week, and it's probably gonna come out sometime midweek next week. And then, like I said, the next book club session is August 28th. I will put out the options for what you guys can vote on tomorrow. And then, like I said, we'll close the poll on like Saturday, and I'll make the announcement. And yeah, anyway, this has been real dope. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Like I said, stay safe, stay sane, and mind your business so you can age well. All right, folks. Good night.